Welcome to our August 9th, 2022 Board of County Commission meeting. We'll call our meeting to order. If we could start our meeting off this morning with our invocation with Pastor Jim Harp from the Stewart Alliance Church, that would be great, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Paul, please rise. And good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like for us to begin with just a moment of silence where we can just maybe settle our hearts. We all come in with a lot of different thoughts and anxieties maybe, and just a moment to just settle before the Lord. Lord Jesus, I thank you for this opportunity this morning to bring the invocation for this meeting. And one definition, according to the dictionary, for invocation is to appeal to a higher power for assistance. And so, Lord, we thank you that we have that privilege and opportunity to seek you and ask you and pray to you for assistance, even in the decisions and directions that are being made and planned here today. Your word tells us to pray for those in authority over us. And so, Lord, we have that responsibility and privilege to do just that. And so, Lord, that's how I see my part here today, is to pray for these folks that are making decisions. We pray for you to provide your direction and assistance in whatever needs to be done. And we thank you, God, that you hear our prayers. Otherwise, prayer is just a futile exercise. So we pray knowing and believing that you hear us and that you answer us. And so, Lord, I thank you. And we just commit this meeting into your hands, and that you will be very present, very real in everything that's said and done. And I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this morning's agenda, we have no consent polls. We'll have 9:05 public following our proclamations. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I will move approval of the agenda.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll do our first proclamation this morning is to present proclamations previously approved. First up this morning is declaring Purple Heart Day.
Good morning, Commissioners. The Purple Heart is awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or died in combat with the declared enemy of the United States of America. The Board recognizes August 7th as Purple Heart Day in Martin County and appreciates the sacrifices our Purple Heart recipients and all veterans have made in defending our freedoms and acknowledges them for their courage. And here to accept, we have Dan McHenry, our Veteran Services Officer.
Hi, good morning, all. Good morning. Today I have with me Mr. John David Lawson. Mr. Lawson served in the United States Army from May 21st of 65 until April 24th of 1967. He was not drafted. He volunteered his service and was later called to go to Vietnam. Due to his heroic action, Mr. Lawson was awarded the Combat Infantry Badge, Vietnam Service and Campaign Medals, and the Air Medal, which, by the way, is difficult for an Army guy to do, right? He was wounded in action and received 2 Purple Hearts. Then the young SP4 John Lawson, who was originally from Hillsborough County, was sitting in a bunker. He and his squad were trying to rest after seeing heavy action against the aggressive Viet Cong. He just received his evening meal and was trying to re-nourish with those delicious sea rations. He looked over his right shoulder, saw a black contrail of smoke, which was a mortar round. The next thing he knew, he was picking himself up off the dirt about 50 feet away where he was at. He quickly repostured himself and his squad and fought against the enemy. He later realized after the firefight that he was hit in the right shoulder and left elbow. John is a decorated war hero and a terrific citizen of Martin County. Today, Mr. John Lawson will receive the Purple Heart Proclamation on behalf of all of our brave Purple Heart warriors. Thank you, John.
receive this reward and for all the other Purple Heart receivers and everything, and I appreciate it and thank you very much.
Thank you for your service. Are you gonna go your flight? September or November? I'm gonna go November, maybe. I don't know what the date is.
Yes, November.
September, I was not gonna go, I don't think.
And next, we have a proclamation declaring Treasure Coast Waterway Cleanup Week in Martin County, Florida. The 15th annual Treasure Coast Waterway Cleanup was held on July 23rd, when over 1,000 volunteers helped clean up our waterways out of 31 designated sites throughout Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties. Since its origin, this cleanup has collected over 10 tons of trash from approximately 125 miles of waterways along the Treasure Coast. The board commends the sponsors and volunteers whose contributions to this effort are so important to its success. And here we have Gail Bird to accept the proclamation on behalf of the Waterway Cleanup.
I think the audience is having trouble hearing.
Yeah, we might want to check the sound out there. I don't know that you can hear. So,
Okay.
No, it's here, in here.
can you all hear back there? No. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gail Bird, long-term member of the Marine Industries Association of the Treasure Coast and a former Florida Inland Navigation District Commissioner representing Martin County. We were proud to run a very good cleanup, waterway cleanup that I started 15 years ago. These pennants went to all the boaters and volunteers, as well as T-shirts. The volunteers that filled out data cards, et cetera, and registered. This year, we do 3 counties, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River, and we've over the years, we've collected a matter of 3.9 tons of debris. In Martin County, it was 1.48 tons this year with 455 people. We've had the most volunteers this year, and therefore we gained some trash pickup. However, the debris was not as heavy as it would have been if we'd had any major storms, et cetera. Our synopsis of the debris was that it was mostly picnic things, straws included, small plastic, styrofoam, et cetera, like that. And that's part of probably cars and boats and people on land that blows into the water. The most unusual thing we saw was approximately 17-foot boat in the mangroves, way in the mangroves down at Jimmy Graham Park. So we reported that for collection. There were other things besides that were kind of unusual, like antlers. A train wheel hub, propane tank, artificial flowers all over. And we also do the Port Salerno Commercial Fishing Dock Authority sponsors a dive at Peck's Lake. And we had 51 volunteers this year. They collected 0.12 tons of trash. It's unusual what could be out there on the reef, but it's could be golf balls. Sorry.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, but evidently they float a little bit. So we're so happy to have done it, and we've got a report for you. I hope you have it yet. And thank you for sponsoring us.
Gail brought some T-shirts and things that'll be distributed to your offices later. Thank you.
Terrific, thanks.
Yeah.
You could always crop it.
Yes. This
Appreciate it.
Yep. Ms. Woods?
Is this on? Is this on? Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm Sarah Woods, the Martin County Attorney. This item is entitled A Presentation of a Commemorative Box of Recognition and Appreciation to Krista Story upon the occasion of her retirement from service with the Martin County Board of County Commissioners. Krista has been a senior county attorney here in Martin County for 25 years. She is and has been an extraordinarily dedicated and gifted attorney and will be deeply missed. Krista and I met nearly 40 years ago, working in the St. Lucie County Attorney's Office as assistant county attorneys. As the years passed, we changed jobs, raised our children, and throughout remained friends. Until in early 2000, we were reunited as attorneys in the Martin County Attorney's Office, something I consider our true home. It's difficult to adequately describe Krista's contributions to Martin County over the last years. She served as legal counsel to the Growth Management Department, providing legal review on all development applications and comp plan amendment applications. She drafted amendments to the land development regulations as were needed for review by the LPA and the Board of County Commissioners. She served as legal counsel to many advisory boards, including the LPA, Board of Zoning Adjustment, Contractors Industry Licensing Board, the CRA, the Neighborhood Advisory Committees, and the Historic Preservation Board, which included providing all of these boards public record, sunshine, and ethics training. Krista was indispensable in assisting our litigators in defending lawsuits, including comp plan and LDR challenges. She served on the county's team from Growth Management Department, Community Development, and the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council that worked for years to develop and create a CRA chapter for our comprehensive plan and to adopt form-based codes for our CRA areas. Krista served as legal counsel to the Building Department and Code Enforcement, guiding the county's Code Enforcement Division to a very successful special magistrate model. Krista's commitment to her county clients while remaining open to collaborate to find solutions and successful compromises have been key to both the avoidance of litigation as well as providing our litigators with a defensible case. Krista's a true team player. She's always ready to assist a coworker and always going above and beyond. On behalf of the County Attorney's Office and Martin County, we wish Krista success and happiness, but we're not saying goodbye because we know we'll keep in touch. I want to read the box, which said, presented upon the occasion of your retirement, Krista Story, in grateful recognition of 25 years of dedicated public service to the citizens of Martin County. Martin County Board of County Commissioners presented this 9th day of August, 2022. And for the people that aren't in the audience, we have here representatives from the Growth Management Department as well as the County Attorney's Office, all of our.
And back there.
And in the back room.
Okay, thank you.
This is where you get to tell us what to do.
Oh, one last time? No.
I'm sure there'll be more than that.
Next time you can tell us where to go.
You said that.
Well, in order to make sure I stayed on script, I did kind of think about what I might say. And, you know, if I know that you got a 3-minute rule, so anyway. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for the recognition. It is true I've made Martin County my home since December of 1997 in terms of employment. Martin County gave me an opportunity when I was without a job. Local government politics, as you all know, can be very dicey, and I served for a small city, and that all 5 elected officials were elected at the same time. So when 4 of the 5 people that hired both myself and the city manager were unelected, we also found ourselves without a job. So Martin County gave me an opportunity, and I appreciate that. And I didn't know that I'd be here this long, but I thank everyone for that. And most days, not every Tuesday, I've enjoyed the work, and I thank you for that. I've served under 4 county attorneys, and recently, some, and I'll say some younger members of the staff in the course of the last few weeks have been very kindly mentioning about mentoring. So that got me thinking about my mentoring here. And I'd like to acknowledge my Martin County land use mentor, Steve Fry. So, you know, I had done land use and zoning. Martin County was my third jurisdiction. But as we all know, Martin County is very unique. Land use and development and all those things are very special here, and I'm not being facetious at all. But although I had been with the county attorney's office for almost 3 years when Steve Fry became the county attorney, I was still very much a newbie, and it was definitely a learning curve. So I'd not like to acknowledge him for some land use, law, legal perspective, community perspective, the Martin County Comprehensive Land Development Regulations, and I have long appreciated that. And that insight, I think, has been invaluable. Other people have helped me with that as well. My long-term departmental client, Ms. Van Vano, also helped with that, and she was sitting behind me in the room. The other person I'd like to recognize is the current county attorney. Sarah already talked about. Sorry. We've known each other for 40 years. We've transitioned in our relationship. We were young assistant county attorneys in St. Lucie County. And some of you may know this, and like I was hired, and about a few months later, the county attorney, Dan Harrell, who'd hired me, and Sarah, resigned, and here were the 2 of us. And Sarah became the acting county attorney, and I don't know, you were out of law school like a year. So here we were. Anyway, so then from there, we, both of us, we stayed for a little while in St. Lucie County. Then we both moved on from there. Sarah indicated she raised 3 daughters. I raised 3 sons. That synergy there, we've talked about for a long time. So then, going ahead a number of years, we both became then, our relationship went to colleagues again at the Martin County Attorney's Office. And then we've transitioned in that relationship. Friendship stayed in place to the point that she, in addition to being my good friend, has become my boss. So anyway, and I'd like to recognize that and appreciate that Sarah, in her role as the county attorney, allowed me to continue doing what I love most days, which is land use, development, working with a multitude of staff members. And I appreciate that she allowed me, trusted me enough to kind of lead that team and continue in that role. And I have appreciated that, and I want to acknowledge that. The other thing, and I'll try to wrap up. One of the other things that I really want to mention to you all is one of the things that has kept me here at times when I thought maybe it was time to move on. And that is the cutting edge policy decisions and programs and all those types of things that you all and the administration and department heads have taken and moved forward. But the other piece of that is the phenomenal professional staff that Martin County has. I've learned many things across many departments. I did not know what a wetland was, I don't think, when I came here, heaven forbid, because depending on the geography of the state, there aren't things like wetlands. I've learned about upland habitats and stormwater and all those things. And so I commend you, and I will tell you, when I thought a few times about moving on, and I thought, at this point in my career, do I want to go backwards and work with staff people that are not of this caliber and quality? And I said no. So I want to commend and thank, and it's part of this group and everybody there, and I encourage you to keep that up, because that's definitely what makes Martin County different. So, just in closing, so I am, retirement is bittersweet. I've got some people that know me well know I have some hobbies that my work has interfered with. So now I can spend time there. Just a couple things. One thing, though, that I didn't expect when I embarked and dropped is I'm going to be a grandmother for the first time in September. And my son Kyle and daughter-in-law Lori live in Hollywood, not very far away. So that's very exciting. It's going to be a little boy, so 3 sons, a grandson. That's, So the other thing I'm going to do is Kyle is also an attorney. He has a virtual law firm. So he wants to put his mom to work and or market his mother or whatever. And so I'm hopefully eventually will continue and do some land use consulting or that type of thing. We'll see. Just 2 more things. I have if you'll indulge me on my soapbox, I have a couple things that I've been quietly I do in my hobby and living in St. Lucie County. One of the things that's going to be engaging me in the course of the next few months is I'm very passionate on a nonpartisan level about voter protection, and that every eligible voter's vote should count. That's what's going to be occupying me until November. The other thing is that I have been quietly, personally advocating against the preemption of local government jurisdiction. But now I can speak loudly and much more clearly. I know that was the position of the board, but I've been cautious about that. But now I can speak out, and I plan to. So hopefully, my 38 years of local government experience, I might be able to get someone to listen to me on that front. And I plan to do that. So again, anyway, I thank you all. And Don's probably about ready to hit the buzzer. So
But
anyway,
there's a few comments.
thank you. So thank you all so much. Okay.
So hang on a second.
Okay.
It can't be.
Miss Story, one of the reasons I even came back was you. I know that you were going through a difficult time here, and when I was making my decision on whether I should come back or not, you stuck in my head quite a bit. We've had a lot of excellent employees that have been here for a long, long time depart, and it's always terrible. We lose the skill, the knowledge, the talent, the friendship, but yours is bittersweet for me. All the best.
Commissioner Hurd.
Good luck, Krista, and the endeavors that you've chosen to immediately address are worthy ones. Best luck. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
I'll echo that. I will actually miss you, Krista. I've learned more, about keeping it between these 2 lines from you and policy, and I will miss your very firm and sassy leadership. So I'm sure that we will be seeing you around, and I very much appreciate working with you.
Thank you very much.
I echo that too, and you'll be sorely missed. And thank you for mentoring me, And it's kind of amazing when you first get elected, you're drinking from a fire hose, and you did a very good job in putting things in perspective so I can understand. So you'll be sorely missed.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
And Krista, lastly, I like you, I've been here a while, and most of those years, all those years you've been here. I got to as well work in the Steve Fry era with you, and you are spot on with our staff, with the talent, with the amazing imagination that comes out of this staff, and it's why it is such a cool place, because you guys make all sorts of magical things happen, and your role, Krista, has left a mark on me personally, but also on this board and on our community. You think of the things you touched on when you were talking about the things you've been involved on. If you really sat down, and I'm sure you did because you wrote it, but if you thought about it for a little bit, and hopefully all of us just absorb what you just said, you personally and your work has been incredibly cornerstone to our community. I mean, so much of what we are and the approvals or the denials that we do up here come from that corner. And that is what has shaped this community for your, how many years, 23?
Almost 25.
25 years. And so from all the comments from the commissioners, Ms. Woods, you have left a mark. And not everybody really can say that, but Krista's story has left a legacy and a history here in terms of what our community has become. And we thank you very, very much for all that. And before I stop, I'd ask all the staff that's here to hang out for 1 second when we're done with Krista. Can all the staff come up in the well? We will stand up here, take a picture, if that's okay. But then I want you all to hang out for a second because Harold has something that I think he wants to present with the staff here as well. So if you could all come up in here, which would be great. And if we can find Laura, if she's still around.
She was in the back.
There she is.
There she is, right on cue. Right in the middle, Krista. Sarah, come on, don't be shy. Don't hide out in the back. Embrace.
Not my client anymore. That's right, exactly. All right.
Right where the coastal engineer ought to be.
Yes.
That's a good crew right there.
That's not the right answer next to mine.
All right, everybody, just keep smiling. Just keep smiling. Thank you.
Awesome.
It's all on you.
David, hang out. And if y'all can just hang out for a minute. How do you want to do this?
I don't know. I'll just wing it, as I usually do. Yeah.
And works for you.
All right.
So-
Harold.
So, as everybody knows, we worked very hard on a water conservation ordinance. David Arthur led a peer group of probably 10 people and put together something that has been recognized throughout the state. So we were invited last Friday a week ago. David and I attended the Florida Irrigation Society convention in Orlando, and we accepted award on behalf of Martin County. It's their annual Water Conservation Award, and they were very impressed with the work that Martin County and David did, and are recommending our ordinance to be adopted to every county in Florida and every municipality. So this is a statewide recognition, and so I'm very proud of David and his work and our peer group that we put together. And so we all should be very proud that we actually did something that is recognized throughout the state.
Can we have one of our attorneys trademark that whole program? There's got to be some money in that.
Huh? I don't know. Do we?
Get a picture?
If you all want to come back up again.
No, we'll just put you and David.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
you and
two.
David. Go get a picture of you
Go
and
by
David.
in our photo studio over there.
Oh, why? Okay.
Where are we going?
Over there,
Over
by the
there.
seal. No, it looks dark over
Come on, you've done this before. Sneakers crack me up.
Men can get away with that, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
He's leaving now.
Back to business.
Great job, guys. Thank you very much. Harold, nice job. David, thank you.
Moving to Georgia.
Really?
Somewhere out of the state.
Okay.
Unless I had a dream.
Oops. We had a dream. Nice job.
You did.
Okay, sorry, we're a little bit behind on our public comment, but thank you for all hanging in there and staying with us to recognize Krista and all of her hard work. So the first public speaker we'll have up this morning will be Mr. Pat Arena.
Come up,
Yeah, Mike.
As you come up, public speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to make their presentation. We're also in an election time, and we do not allow the avocation or defeat of a candidate for public office, either partisan or nonpartisan. Thank you.
And following Mr. Arena will be Chris Pollock, please. Good morning, Mr. Arena.
Pat Arena, Jensen Beach, Commissioners, Don, Sarah. This is still on Lot 91 in Sugar Hill, declared in wetlands. Darrell from Growth Management said normal land could become wetlands because of local construction, but you can't prove it. Yes, we can. The building department provided me with all the documentation on those 7 lots. After reviewing over 800 pages of information on adjacent lots, I found no record of any environmental study. Building dates were between 1988 and 2006. Conclusion: either all those lots were wetland and Martin County was not doing their job, or none of them were wetlands. I now believe there was no need for any study. I went to Lot 91 and looked and took a level to check along both property lines. You don't need to be a hydraulic engineer for a major aerospace company, but I am. It was clear that both properties are draining into Lot 91. The topography map shows the drainage path through Lot 91 that matches my findings. I am also a home designer in Martin County. It was always a challenge not to have runoff water go into another lot. Martin County is good about that for the most part. Martin County put me through hell in 2001. My property is on a hill, and I spent multiple hours with your engineering to not have any of my water go into it. A adjacent lot, which was easement, 20-foot easement that nobody could build on. Where were you in 2003 and 2006? I believe because there is no record of any environmental requirements for adjacent lots and no restrictions, that Lot 91 became wetlands because of runoff water from at least 2 lots, 90 and 92, and possibly more, as it continues today. It is not natural wetlands, but man-made because of improper grading that kept a lot wet enough to become wetlands and caused major erosion. Because of this new finding, we are asking Martin County to grandfather in Lot 91 to be consistent with the local residents. If you insist on keeping this property tagged wetlands that you made because of improper grading, you are playing God and inducing a major lawsuit. The county will pay dearly for what you caused Mr. Aronson. Please use common sense in your decision. You broke it? Fix it. Thank you. Don, please meet with me sometime on this. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Chris Pollock, please. Following Mr. Pollock is Jean Slane. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for letting us speak today. I'm here in regards to the Marina project that's going on in Palm City. My family currently resides in Palm City, and we do also store our boat at Marina. I'm here today to voice my opinion as well as my family's opinion on the projects going on at the marina. We have stored our boat there now for the last year, that it has been brought back up to its way of storing boats. They've been and plenty of improvements being done by the new owners, Austin and Jenny. Seeing that the plans expand the storage capacity, change the landscaping, and adding a restaurant would be positive for Palm City and Martin County. This addition of a waterfront dining option to Palm City residents would bring a much closer and easier option rather than having to drive to Stewart or Hutchinson Island. There is also a positive economic value that benefits both Palm City and Martin County. Firstly, Meridian Marina will be using a local contractor to build the restaurant, which keeps the money for construction local. Secondly, once the restaurant is built, employees of the restaurant will be Martin County residents, keeping the wages in Martin County. Third, Martin County benefits from property taxes and the sales tax income from the restaurant. Lastly, the restaurant will also give boaters traveling along the river and Okeechobee Waterway in the Palm City area another restaurant to dock and eat at. As we already know, Manatee Pocket is already overcrowded. In my closing, my family and I are excited for the expansion and beautification of Meridian Marina and would love to have a waterfront restaurant that would appeal to both boaters and to the residents who want to have a nice casual dining experience on the water. Which is why, in my opinion, with all of the growth happening in Martin County, this restaurant and the rest of Meridian Marina project should be approved and allowed them to move forward to getting contracts signed so we can hopefully enjoy waterfront experience by next summer. Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Pollock. Jean Slane. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having
Following
me.
Ms. Slane will be Phil Winterkorn. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Jean Slane, and I am a current employee of Meridian Marina under its new ownership. I was employed under the previous ownership as well. Combined, I have employed with Meridian Marina for over 5 years. Just a little bit about the history under the previous ownership and what it was, and under the current ownership as of January of 2021 and what has become. The previous ownership was in bankruptcy. There was no money for ongoing maintenance of the property. Therefore, the dry stack building and the administrative building, as well as surrounding land, were in shambles. It was a complete disaster zone. The dry stacks building roof was in dire need of re-roofing. Water was leaking in everywhere. Side panels of the building were patched together with basically tarp sheets. There was no money for the repair, nor was there no money for employee payroll or basics such as toilet paper for the bathrooms. As an employee, I was hanging on by a thread. Move forward to January 2021, when Mr. Austin Cameron and his partner and wife Jenny were brave enough to step forward and to commit to spending millions of dollars to save and preserve this precious piece of waterfront property. They are fully invested in rehabbing Meridian Marina. We do not have water leaking in everywhere any longer. We do not have wind blowing through missing side panels any longer. We do not have bounce paychecks any longer. What we have is a beautification project going on, one which is structured to improve the environment, improve the neighborhood, and improve the livelihood of our boating community. I am proud to be employed by Meridian Marina and proud to be a part of a team that care about community. This marina is on solid footing and on path of a family-based service. I am in full support of its ongoing projects. Thank you.
Mr. Winterkorn, followed by Steve English. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be here this morning. I'm also here in support of Meridian Marina, so some of my comments may sound a little bit redundant. We've had a couple great comments already mentioned. But I'm a resident of Martin County since 1981, and I've lived in Palm City with my wife and 2 children, 16 and 13, since 18 years ago. I am a user of the marina. I've been there. I've had the unique perspective of being there for about 6 years now, under the previous operator as well as under Austin and Jenny now. And I can tell you it's apples to oranges. Just from an aesthetic standpoint, there were parts of the building missing after the 2017 hurricane. The roof was completely rusted out. we would get these rust chips on our boats, which as a boater, if you are, it's one of the most annoying things you've ever probably been through. But also just from a risk of injury, not only for the customers, but also for the staff. I mean, there was a gaping hole in the launch pad. The balance of the launch pad was completely uneven and broken in pieces. So it was a significant risk. This project is really just a continuation of the improvements that Austin and Jenny have already made. If you've called any marinas lately, there's a 1 to 5 year wait on boat storage, so it is a critical need in our community right now. That's very obvious. I think also, someone mentioned from an economic impact, that's always a question. I know all the work up to this point the vast majority has been done by local contractors. I believe the majority of the work going forward will also be done by local contractors, so that money will stay here in Martin County. So I think the project makes a lot of sense. Again, being a longtime Martin County resident, I hope you'll see it in your minds to support this project. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. English, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Steve English. I'm a homeowner in Port Salerno, had a home there for over 40 years. I was looking forward, I'm here to speak about the Phase 2 water main extension in Port Salerno. I was enthusiastically looking forward for this project to be completed. I wanted to hook into it so bad you don't understand. And I got everything in place to do it, and they got the completion done a couple months late, which was understandable and great. And then I received a letter stating how I can hook into it. And the last thing in the letter says, please be advised per Martin County Code 3159, once you connect to the system, you may not ever disconnect. You're stuck for the rest of your life with your water system. If you disconnect, you will be charged criminally. That floored me. I was appalled. So I'm here to speak about that. I think you've made a mistake in this. The water system, if you have to do this to do it, to get people to stay on to it, obviously there's got to be a problem down the road that you don't want them disconnecting. Quality, are you going to add fluoride to it that people don't want and they can't disconnect? Are you going to use it for a source of revenue for Martin County and raise the rate so high we can't afford them? And we're stuck with it unless we want to commit a criminal act to disconnect. I'm here to ask you to change that. Take that away. Give us the opportunity to use your water system, and if you don't keep it up to par, let us disconnect from it. That's the way it should be. I don't know anything else to say about it, but unless we can unhook from it, we can't hook up. And I have terrible water. I sure like to use it. And I'll tell you this, I'm 99.99% sure I'll never disconnect. But I don't want to be held criminally liable if you or another commission comes in and puts something in that water that I feel is detrimental to my family, and I'm not allowed to disconnect from it. So I'd ask you to change this, make it where we can disconnect, set the rules for it, set the charges for it, and then at least tweak that part of this thing, and I think you'll end up with a good thing. I don't think you need. I think this is an unnecessary rule to be in this, and I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Steve. Mr. Hardy, Philip Hardy. Following Mr. Hardy is Joan Goodrich. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Smith, Chair, County Board, also members of the community. My name is Phil Hardy. I'm here to speak regarding the proposed assessment, another assessment, for the garbage pickup. Now, I agree, we do need garbage picked up. That's very important. However, I have seen the assessments going up and up and up on properties, and as the assessment on your property goes up, the assessed value, the taxes also go up. Recently, we were charged an assessment for the recycling. We got a nice new barrel. We got a truck that comes around with an arm. It's supposed to be out there once a week. However, it shows up every 2-3 weeks, maybe every month. It shows up in the neighborhood to pick up the recycling. This assessment is simply another tax. I disagree with increasing taxes. We have increased values on the properties. We see more and more homes coming in, and those values are going to be up, and the taxes are going to be on those properties as well. I am very much opposed to any new taxes or any new assessments, if you want to call them that, because a new assessment for the garbage pickup is simply a new tax. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. No new taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. We will, if you don't mind, Mr. Hardy, I'll let Waste Management hear your address, and they can follow up with you on the recycling, because you should be having it every single week. It shouldn't be once a month or once every couple weeks.
They show up to recycle, but they don't show up with that truck that we just paid for.
So do you mind if I give your address out to, so it's 7134 Southeast Bluebird Circle, is that correct? That is correct. Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you. If he wants to. Ms. Goodrich, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Donaldson, Ms. Woods, and members of the community. I'm just here to also speak about Meridian Marina. It is so exciting to see another marine business growing in our community to help strengthen our marine hubs of excellence, of course, which is one of our legacy businesses. I thank the owners for recognizing Martin County as a great place to have a business, for being that job creator, and to also in proposing this additional capital investment that will circulate and benefit our economy and community. Thank you.
Dottie Lancy, please. The last speaker form I have after Ms. Lancy is Tom Pine. If anybody else would like to speak at public comment, I do have a couple others that were turned in, but they were for the Marina discussion. If you want to wait for that agenda item, or you can speak at public, it's up to you. You want to come up to public? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dottie Lancy from Hutchinson Island. I've come here this morning to speak on behalf of the gopher tortoises who live here with us in Martin County. As you know, they are designated under law as a protected species, and it is necessary for us to find new habitats for them when development causes them to be relocated from their burrows. Such a situation happened recently at the airport when new construction was causing their removal. Unfortunately, there was nowhere in the county to accommodate them, and they had to be transported to DeSoto County, which is hundreds of miles away, I understand, at taxpayers' expense of over $100,000. Florida Fish and Wildlife has many regulations regarding this, I found. They must be transported to a site that is certified appropriate by them. Martin County, priding itself on being environmentally conscious and respectful of our natural resources, has the ability to provide these creatures and keep them locally. I've contacted Florida Fish and Wildlife and contacted the county staff here, who will be in charge of getting the ball rolling on certifying an area for the tortoises. We have areas already here in Martin County, such as Halipatoke Park, that could qualify, and there are others as well. I've contacted Ecological Associates, the organization contracted by the county to undertake such a project. They are waiting the commissioner's okay to get started. Commissioner Hurd is aware of the concerns and requested county staff to have a presentation for the commission last May, but the staff has not scheduled one yet. I'm asking you to act today on getting a place certified here in Martin County for the relocation of the tortoises before another emergency comes up. Today, you are considering 2 potential developments, and of course, there are many other future developments in the pipeline which will cause a number of tortoises to have to be removed. Having an area here should be a very popular decision for you to make. There are only 4 other locations in the state that are currently certified. Being the 5th would certainly enhance our reputation and please the voters. And it would be a money-making proposition. Martin County would be paid for any relocated tortoises we agree to accept from other counties in the state. So please act on this. Thank you.
Mr. Pine?
Morning.
Morning.
Good
morning, Commissioners. My name's Tom Pine. I've been a resident of Martin County for over 50 years. Today, there are 10 items on the consent agenda. The county slush fund for a total of $34,284,590, with no explanation as to what the money is for or whom the money is being paid to. This is sick. This is not open government. This is how third world countries operate, in the dark. I'm now going to talk about our local government, helping to speed up the problems of homelessness and food insecurity in Martin County. In 2021, the majority of this commission gave then County Administrator a 15% raise to bring her yearly salary up to $219,000, and the County Attorney 12% raise to bring her salary up to $202,000 a year. It was to say thank you to the County Administrator for all her hard work she had done for the County Commissioners, and thank the County Attorney for making sure they were all legal. Fast forward to July 18th, 2022. The county budget. Parks and Recreation Department head gives his presentation in discussing hiring a new company that will clean the park's bathrooms at a lower rate than the service they used last year. Everything in the entire world is going up, and we found somebody to clean the bathrooms at our parks cheaper. I guess people in charge think that's a good thing, saving money for the taxpayers. Myself, I'm appalled. We give 15 and 20% raises to the highest paid county employees, and the people at the bottom of the ladder, we kick in the mouth. In essence, we hire modern-day slaves to clean our county parks' bathrooms. I took the time and checked with Palm Beach County, one of the counties our elected officials like to use when giving raises to their favorites. And all county park restrooms are cleaned with county employees in Palm Beach County. Our Parks and Recreation Department head is, if I heard correctly, has been with the county for 10 years now. His next raise will be a whopper because of all the new county employees since he took over the county. Now operates 2 beach house restaurants, the Morningfield recreation RV parks. These should all be operated by private business sector. Our county government should not be in the business of private business. And I would suggest all the money we save by not publishing public notices in the newspaper be used to maybe hook the speakers back up in this room so we can actually hear the meeting in that room. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pine. Is it Mr. Condon? Would you like to come up now? Anybody else wish to speak at public this morning? If you do, please come up and get a form from the bailiff or pass it in. Robin, you want to speak now? Or at the agenda item? Okay, sure. Yep. Good morning.
Morning. I'm Rod Condon. I live next to the Marina in Palm City, the Meridian Marina, and I probably will give a different perspective on what's going on there. Currently, what we have is tugs moving back and forth on the road right behind all these houses, and the low-frequency noise comes through the house, and it drones on day in and out, especially in the morning when they're moving boats around, and then usually later in the afternoon. So that's something that probably hasn't been looked at. My background is in physics. The dB level for the residential area is 60 dB. For commercial, it's 65. I don't know if any of this has been measured prior to the changes that you're making, but you're going to try to make a residential into a commercial area. You're doubling the size of the storage. It's going to be transformative in the area there, especially the noise. I don't know if you have the group here has a way to test what the noise level is right now. Okay. There's 2 paths that tugs can go on, and they're carrying large boats. There's one right in our backyard over the berm, and it's not very far away, and that's a cement road. And then on the other side of the marina, there's a dirt road. Using that road would substantially decrease the noise levels in our neighborhood. Everybody works, so nobody could come. I'm retired. That's why I'm here. Lots of people in the neighborhood complain about the noise levels. It's a very low frequency that travels. They have a berm and tall trees, and that does not mitigate low frequency. High frequencies possibly, but usually you have to have large bushes about the size of the wavelength of the noise. Anyway, okay, so that's that. And then you're going to add a restaurant. I don't know if you're going to add bands like some of the other places. Are we going to have a large noise level at night due to that? I don't know what the requirements on that. I suspect the property values on the whole street will decrease. A lot of people are concerned about that. Mitigation. I did mention that if you're probably going to go through with it, but if you could try to install large bushes, clusa, or the classic ones that everybody's using now, on top of the burn, that may decrease the frequency, especially the low frequency, because it goes through. And then when they back up, you get the beeping at 7:30 in the morning, and you can hear it in the house. And then if they could use the North Road that's right next to the road that goes to Pendarvis Park, that would substantially decrease the noise levels in our backyards. I mean, I have a backyard, a berm, and then a giant tug lifting a 30-foot boat. And that diesel engine, I think it's diesel, it just moans and moans. And it's like it's not a constant noise. It's just, because they're slowing up, going fast. I think there's some potholes in the road there. So that's what I say. There's another side to that whole construction. Seems like the new owners are better than the previous ones, because I thought their wall was going to fly off and hit us in the hurricane. I mean, that was really dangerous, what they had left. So they fixed it up, and we lived them fixing it up, because then it was super noisy. Probably over 3 minutes. Okay, so there's another perspective, okay?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Ms. Cartwright? And again, that's the last public speaker forum. Missy, did you want to speak at the agenda item or now? Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Regarding the marina amendment specifically, nobody is questioning what good work the people who have bought this marina are doing. It's a question of what they're not allowed to do. As a reminder, this commission declined to require participants to disclose every participant involved in a project, and in a TC Palm article, the applicant's counsel said that any decision should be made on land use regulations only, not who owns the property. So let's make sure we stay focused on the land use and the project, because we've heard a lot about how great these people are, and I'm sure that they are. There's a variance request for parking. Required is 214 spaces. They're proposing 151. Why so few, especially if they're going to put in a restaurant? Per Florida State Statute 163.31771, an accessory dwelling unit means an ancillary or secondary living unit that has a separate kitchen, bathroom, and sleeping area. It is based that there is a primary dwelling unit on the property. The marina owners live in Texas, so that can't be their primary residence. Continue by definition, an application for a building permit to construct an accessory dwelling unit must include an affidavit from the applicant which attests that the unit will be rented at an affordable rate to an extremely low income, very low income, or moderate income person or persons under the state statute. There's a request for 4 accessory dwelling units as part of this application. So what are they for and what are their purpose? Are they renting them out? Do they need a hotelier license? They're also proposing an external boat rack for 140 more boats, and the schematic that was provided showed a boat strategically being loaded onto the middle rack. What that means, though, is that boats that are put on top of that 40-foot structure will be in excess of the height limit. Granted, it's not permanent, but it will be visible from the road. Also, the space that they provided for the outdoor boat rack, they've drawn at 42.47 feet, and it appears to butt up against the building. But from all resources that we found, most boat sizes and forklift sizes require an area of 60 feet. The parking lot that this is next to is 59.97 feet. So how can they logistically move a boat onto a boat rack when the parking lot is only 60 feet wide? My bigger concern is why staff is not looking at these discrepancies before they're being presented to you for an ordinance vote. And finally, there was an email that was sent to the commission on Tuesday from a concerned resident, not myself, that somebody forwarded to the applicant, and the applicant reached out directly to that constituent. This would have been prior to when a FOIA request could be found to learn who that person is. So in closing, any purchase of any land or company is speculative. It's not your job to make anybody money, especially not a developer. It's your job to stick to the state statute, codes, zoning, and comp plan. It really doesn't matter who they are.
Okay, that's the last public, oh, I'm sorry, Russell Alardi? I'm sorry. Again, anybody else wish to speak at public? This is the last speaker form I have for public, and we'll close out after this gentleman. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Commission. First, I want to thank each of you for your service to our community to represent the residents, improve the quality of life, and maintain the property values. Again, my name is Russell Alardi. I, like many in this area, enjoy the water and boating. When I first purchased my boat, I was surprised there was an obvious shortage of boat storage in the area, and both for trailering the boat to store it or to a enclosed storage facility. I had seen Meridian Marina and was able to get on a waiting list to get a spot while I was waiting for my boat to be built. When I started storing my boat there, the facility was in desperate need of repairs and improvements. The new owners have been making these improvements. The current building that is proposed to be a new family-oriented restaurant is currently an eyesore and dilapidated, as many of you know, as you can see it from the Intercoastal or from the St. Lucie River. The current building, obviously, nobody would want to see that stay in that state of disrepair. The area is certainly in need of some type of water-accessible restaurant or increasing the capacity, which would benefit many people in this community who are boaters, and there are many that are boaters. I hope you all consider supporting a business owner who is preparing and proposing to upgrade and improve an existing marina property that can be better than it has looked for a long time. The project will certainly improve the aesthetics overall and provide infrastructure to a large segment of our community who enjoy boating. Thank you for allowing me to represent the many more people than the few who like to oppose anything in this community. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Okay, that's the last public speaker form I have. Thank you all for that. Commissioners, Commissioner Jenkins, anything this morning?
I do, but I'm going to wait till the end. Sarah and I have a request for the board.
Okay. Commissioner Heatherington.
I will just say tomorrow there'll be a lot of happy parents with kids going back to school, and I will wish all of our families and children and students a happy and safe year, and just caution all of you that are traveling the roads to please be mindful, of and drive safe out there with school starting.
Thank you. Commissioner Campy.
I'm fine.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, Mr. Amerson, can you please address the speaker's allegation that there will be criminal charges brought against those who choose to disconnect from Martin County Utilities?
I'll have to research that, Commissioner. For the record, Sam Emerson, Utilities Department Director. I know Phil Keithley's in our shop and technical services sends those out at completion of construction on each of the projects, but I'll research that. I don't know if that was a statute or county ordinance.
And if you can also get Mr. English's information from the clerk so that we can be in touch with him.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Gopher Tortoises relocation certification. Where are we regarding that?
Commissioner, our Ecosystems Division has been actually working on this issue for many years. In terms of relocation is a challenge. We do have a number of sites that are suitable for gopher tortoises. However, they're so suitable they already exceed the limits to be able to place more on there. Or they may be living there, but they don't meet the depth of water table or other things. So staff is preparing to bring back an agenda item to have Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission staff here to update the staff on where we are in terms of we're still looking at other sites. It may require that you have to take a site that's not suitable for anything, like a fallow orange field or something like that, and then construct a new facility to create new habitat. So those are, I think we'll bring back something more detailed. We could bring back an agenda item fairly quickly just to have a discussion on it, but our staff would prefer to have FWC. So if you're patient enough to wait till October, that's when they've committed to come here. Otherwise, we could have staff present an update fairly quickly to you at any meeting, but our goal was to have the FWC here to answer questions.
Good, thanks. And lastly, Commissioners, I had a tour of the golf clubhouse yesterday, and it's amazing. It's going to, I believe and I hope that Martin County taxpayers who made this possible will be very, very proud of the facility. It's just spectacular. Our timing was good. It's really going to be a wonderful asset that Martin County residents are really going to enjoy. I know that I've said in the past that Kevin Abate, who's the head of our Parks and Recreation Department, is the best salesman in Martin County. I still stand by that, but he executes plans like nobody else. He's put his heart and soul into this project, and we're going to see the payoff hopefully in October. Thanks.
Thank you. Last thing I have this morning, we are quickly approaching in 2025, the 100th anniversary of Martin County. I have recently been talking to some of our more local history type residents, and they are starting to think about what that means to us. And so if you would all support the idea of me working with a group to start thinking about what that 100th anniversary might look like, I would very much like to do that with our both the Historical Society out on the island, but also the Arts Council and others that are involved in a lot of what we do relative to arts, culture, and history. So,
You want a motion?
Sure.
I'd make a motion that we allow our Chair, Doug Smith, to represent the board on any aspects of 100th anniversary events that would take place that year.
Fantastic. We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All is opposed. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Jenkins, you had
Yeah,
your
I
light
just
back
want
on?
to say this because I'll forget, and I hesitate to bring it up, but it just flashed through my mind with the Gopher Tortoise thing. Years ago, when they took the Loran Tower down, the rumor was that once that tower was down, that open space was going to be a Gopher Tortoise.
I thought they backed out on all that and didn't allow us to do anything with that site. Because there were some other, we were looking at putting a regular tower up there.
Yeah.
And they were like, nope.
Yeah.
But
it's the perfect spot for it, and there was talk about it, and I just want to bring it up. It may not be practical, but I will forget if I didn't say anything, so I thought I'd say.
I'll add
The old Loran Tower in J.D. Park. It's probably about, I don't know, a 20-acre cleared area that's already been disturbed that was already supposedly perfect habitat for gopher tortoises. So, just thought I'd bring it back up.
That ultimately is Fish and Wildlife's decision, correct?
Yes, but the Coast Guard
You're
property, it's owned by.
Done.
The property is owned by the Coast Guard, so getting either a transfer to the county or something before we can make that into it may be one of the requirements, but we'll certainly have staff, one, they can take a quick look at it too to see if it's suitable, or if it's so suitable, they've already moved in.
That might hurt.
Okay, everybody all set with that? Okay, we will take up our first item this morning, which will be, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Donaldson, did you want to?
I just wanted to make one announcement. Our chairman was unavailable to attend the October 25th meeting. We did coordinate with your staff, and with your concurrence, we are going to change the October 25th BCC meeting to October 18th.
Do you want a motion for that?
I don't believe we need a motion. I think it's just an announcement, and you all agree that's what we will move forward with, and we'll properly advertise.
All okay with that? Okay, thank you for that. Ms. Woods, do you have anything extra this morning? Didn't mean to forget you two over there. Okay, first item we have then on the agenda this morning is our first public hearing to consider the adoption of the final assessment resolution for fiscal year 2023 solid waste assessment and certification of special assessment roll to the tax collector. Mr. Emerson, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Sam Emerson, Utilities and Solid Waste Department Director. As you stated, this is a public hearing to consider adoption of the final assessment resolution for collection of solid waste and also certification of the special assessment roll to the tax collector, which is done each year. On July 12th, the board adopted the initial assessment resolution, and that brings us to this final resolution. Notices were mailed out, certified first-class mail to each resident in the municipal service benefit unit, identifying the rate and also notifying them, the public of this public hearing, that they could attend and comment. The single-family dwelling rate for FY23 is proposed at $405.55. That's comprised of $273 for collection, $98.59 for disposal, and $33.96 for administrative cost. The change from the current rate of 22 is $15.86 per year. That equates to about 7.5 cents additional for each pickup. Staff recommendation, we move that the board would receive public comment at this public hearing. Move that the board adopt the final assessment resolution for the solid waste municipal benefit unit. And lastly, move that the board certify and approve the special assessment roll to the tax collector. And that completes my presentation.
Emerson, thank you. Board, any questions for staff? This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to address us on the fiscal year 2023 solid waste assessment and certification for special assessment roll to the tax collector? Seeing none, no from the public. Back to the board. I don't know who was first. Commissioner. Want to go, Stacy?
Mr. Emerson, so when we break it down, our assessment, there's 3 different categories, if I'm looking. There's the normal pickup, and then we have the residential trash. I'm looking at this, and then we have the demolition.
Yes, that's correct.
So, and we've discussed a couple of those over the last year. Which one did we bought some trucks? That was the demolition, debris hauling?
No, we're purchasing 2 trailers. They're currently been ordered. I think we'll receive those probably in September. Those were to haul the recyclables to St. Lucie County. We had gone out to bid several months ago, well, probably a year ago now, and we only received 1 bid, and the board was concerned, and so that led us.
And then we're paying $338 a load.
$334, I think, per load. Yes, ma'am.
So have we started hauling with our trucks?
No, we have not. We're only getting 2 trailers. And as soon as we receive those, I believe in September, they're due to be delivered. We will start, give our contractor notice, and then we'll start hauling with our own forces.
And there was a substantial savings, if I remember, because I wasn't in favor of buying our own trucks, but I think you presented that there was a substantial savings.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So with some of the savings, and I think that we took some elements out of the former waste management or the hauling contract, I don't understand why we're having the increase.
The increase is based primarily inflationary pressures. We've got increases in disposal rates for our processing at the transfer station and the construction and demolition debris and also the vegetative waste. Those have CPI allowances in those contracts, and so those gone up, I believe, 4% on average. Waste management was 4% for the collection as well. So we've got the collection aspect and also inflation on the disposal side, and that's what's included with these rates.
Okay, that's all for now.
Commissioner Campy.
Mr. Emerson, thank you very much for presenting that. I don't think we'd have to look very far to understand how fortunate we are here in Martin County with our collections for trash and recycling. I know that when we originally renegotiated our contract, there were a couple other players in the mix at the time with their proposals. One is currently the collector in Port St. Lucie, and the other one will become the, they voided their contract. I don't know if the commissioners got rid of the hauler or if the hauler got rid of, forfeited their remainder of their contract. The company that's going to take over was the other one that was bidding on ours. And we stuck with Waste Management. And I remember saying at the time, it wasn't like we were purchasing an entity, a truck, if you will. We were purchasing a service that Martin County residents have come to expect. And that was before everything that's happened up north of us, where their service is really hit or miss, and could be weeks at a time. And all of us know that if you're storing household garbage in a garbage pail, either in your garage or outside of your home in Florida heat, and it doesn't get picked up for a couple of weeks, the maggots and the flies and the things that are happening. I work with a couple of folks that live up that way, and they say it's the worst that it could possibly be. And so I think none of us are really interested in increases at all, assessments or anything like that. But for us to expect that we're going to get the top-notch level of service that Waste Management delivers, and it's not like I'm, a big advocate for Waste Management. I'm a big advocate for top-notch service. Our residents require it, expect it. I do at our house. We have always heard, any of the commissioners that have gotten calls about some kind of an issue with a pickup, like the gentleman this morning that says the recycling truck doesn't come to his home as often as it's supposed to. The gentleman from Waste Management handed him a business card. I'm sure they will handle that concern. I know that when people call my office frustrated about things that are happening out in Palm City Farms, they'll send photographs of, multi-families that are throwing mountains of garbage out onto the street. The neighbors call, and we can contact Waste Management and their representatives, even though it's probably not their responsibility to pick up, 12 houses worth of garbage at one house. I don't know how it happens, but they always do. So for me to have a 7.5-cent increase per pickup day or a $15 for the year, when all of us know how much we're all paying more for gasoline. I know that a lot of those trucks are natural gas. A $15 increase, which was built into their contract, no one wants to see an increase, but under those specific set of circumstances of what we could be dealing with here, Port St. Lucie, I believe they're going to be paying twice what they were paying for half the service and no recyclable collection. I'm happy to make the motion to continue our level of service with Waste Management.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Commissioner Heatherington.
I just wanted to add something, because this is my understanding, is that Waste Management has done a fantastic job, and looking to our neighbors, we are certainly happy to have them. This assessment is not just Waste Management. This is also debris removal. There's other aspects to this.
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to make it clear that this is not only Waste Management, they have done an amazing job for their portion of the contract. And I'm not going to support the increase purely because I think with us buying the trailers and going forward, that we probably could have realized a level flat rate this year. And I'm certainly think we can realize that next year.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? I'm sorry, this is public hearing, correct? Did we ask for public?
Yes.
You did.
We did, okay, sorry. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Heatherington dissenting.
Thank you.
Sam, thank you very much. I think we can get in public hearing item number 1 before we go to our closed captioning break. So public hearing item number 1 is a request for zoning district change by Trinidad and 3 Bagels, LLC. Mr. Elam. This is quasi, thank you for that. Did you have anything to turn in, that we need to turn in, notices?
No.
No, we're all set.
The applicant will turn in the notices. Elise Elder, Senior Assistant County Attorney.
Okay. Any ex parte communications? Commissioner Jenkins.
If I have any, they've been filed.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I don't, and they've been filed.
Commissioner Campy.
I don't, and they've been filed.
Commissioner Hurd.
If I have any, they've been filed.
I have their file. Do we have any interveners? No? What else am I missing? Oh, we got to swear in our witnesses. Anybody that's going to participate in this hearing, we need you to please rise and be sworn in.
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Elam.
Morning, Commissioners. Do have to turn in my work history and the agenda item. So this is a request by Trinidad and Three Bagels for a proposed amendment to the county zoning atlas on approximately 25-acre parcel of land located at 6155 Southwest Layton Farm Avenue in Palm City. The proposed amendment is to change the existing zoning district from A2 Agricultural District to AR5A Agricultural Ranchette District. Included with this application is a request for a certificate of public facilities exemption. Aerial photograph of the property. Future land use is agricultural ranchette. Zoning district, current zoning district is A2 Agricultural District. Current zoning district is a Category C zoning district. It is not consistent with the future land use, and therefore this request to rezone is considered mandatory. There are two straight zoning districts that are available to implement the agricultural ranchette land use policy of the comp plan. That's AR5A and AR10A Agricultural Ranchette District. PUD zoning is also an option. Here are the development standards for the existing and proposed zoning district. You can see that the proposed is much more restrictive in terms of the setbacks. And staff has concluded that the requested AR5A Agricultural Ranchette District is an appropriate zoning district with respect to the application of the goals, objectives, and policies of Martin County's Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, land development regulations, and county codes. This proposed amendment went before the LPA on August 4th and was voted 3-0 to approve staff's recommendation for rezoning. Staff has concluded that the requested AR5A Agricultural Ranchette District is an appropriate district with respect to the application. Staff recommends the board move to receive and file the agenda item and the staff report as Exhibit 1, and staff recommends the board approve the request to rezone from A2 Agricultural District to AR5A Agricultural Ranchette. I have one other item. There was a public comment speaker at the LPA representing the Jacob Community Center LLC, which owns properties abutting this property to the east and south. Growth Management received a letter from Jacob Community Center LLC on August 3rd that I would like to submit into the record if you'd like.
Is that it?
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for staff? Hearing none, Mr. Waters, good morning.
Good morning, Tyson Waters on behalf of the applicant, and our notices were turned in at the LPA meeting. We agree with staff's recommendation. As they note, this is a mandatory rezoning, and we believe that AR5A is appropriate and is consistent with the zoning designation for our properties to the west, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Fantastic, thank you, sir. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? And this item is public hearing, quasi-judicial item number 1, request for a zoning district change by Trinidad and Three Bagels LLC. Seeing no one from the public, back to the board.
Pending no comment, public comment, I will make a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we will stop there so that we don't do this in the middle of the next one. We will take our 10-minute closed captioning break. We'll be back at about 20-ish, a little bit before 11 o'clock.
You're on.
He's doing it. Okay, everybody, welcome back from our closed captioning break. We will take up public hearing quasi-judicial item number 2, request for a zoning district change by 4585 Northeast Ocean Boulevard LLC. This is quasi-judicial. Commissioner Jenkins, do you have any?
I don't believe I have any, but if I do, they've been filed.
Commissioner Heatherington?
If any, they've been filed.
Gabby?
If I have any, they've been filed.
Commissioner Hurd?
If I have any, they've been filed.
I have them, they're filed. Can we have our, anybody that's going to testify, please rise and be sworn in?
Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do we have any interveners?
No interveners.
Did I miss anything? Did you turn in your work history booklet? Okay. Anything else we need to do? Did I forget anything? No?
What?
I was looking at you to see if we forgot anything.
I think you did all right.
Okay, good. All right, Mr. Neeman, good morning again. You're up.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
And Brian, if you could maybe move either the mic a little bit closer to you, or you can't move it, actually, you can bend it maybe, or,
I'll try to speak up.
there you go.
Thank you.
A little bit better, thank you.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. This is a request by 4585 Northeast Ocean Boulevard LLC for a proposed amendment to the county zoning atlas on approximately 1.37 acre parcel of land located at 4585 Northeast Ocean Boulevard on Hutchinson Island. The proposed amendment is to change the existing zoning district from HR 2A Multiple Family Dwelling District to RS-6 Medium Density Residential District. And included with this application is a request for a certificate of public facilities exemption. There's a aerial photograph of the property. The future land use is medium density. And the current zoning district is HR-2A Multiple Family Dwelling District. Current zoning district on the property is a Category C. It is inconsistent with the future land use, and therefore this request to rezone is considered mandatory. There are 4 standard zoning districts available to implement the medium-density land use policies of our comp plan, and that's RS6, RS8, RM6, and RM8 medium-density residential district. PUD zoning district, or PUD zoning is also an option. This proposed amendment went before the LPA on August 4th, and it was voted 3-0 to approve staff's recommendation for rezoning. Staff has concluded the requested RS-6 medium-density residential district is an appropriate zoning district with respect to the applications of the goals, objectives, and policies of Martin County's Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, Land Development Regulations, and Code. Staff recommends the board move to receive and file the agenda item and the staff report as Exhibit 1. And staff recommends the board approve the request to rezone from HR-2A Multiple Family Dwelling District to RS-6 Medium Density Residential District. And for the record, it was brought to my attention on August 3rd by Growth Management staff that the agenda item attachment labeled F112-003 sign posting affidavit is not the required sign posting affidavit. It was not loaded up correctly. So I would like to submit that, which was turned in on time, just was not loaded up into our item.
Okay, so can we, are they in compliance, not compliance? I mean,
They are in compliance, absolutely.
just making,
Yes.
okay, because it sounded like it was going one way and then,
No, it was turned in on time. When I loaded the attachments up in the agenda item, one of the files was mislabeled. And so rather than being what should have been there, it's not the correct.
but it is now.
It is now.
Fantastic, that's what we need to know. Commissioners, any questions for our staff? Seeing none, the applicant? Good morning.
For the record, Alejandro Toro with Engineering, Design, and Construction on behalf of the applicant.
Were sworn in correctly?
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Sorry, thank you.
Similar to the application before us, this is a mandatory rezoning. Here to answer any questions you guys may have. I turned in a mailing affidavit at the LPA.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to speak on behalf of public hearing quasi-judicial item number 1, a request for zoning district change by 4585 Northeast Ocean Boulevard LLC? Seeing none, back to the board. We need a motion.
I'll make a motion for staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Good luck. Thank you. Next item is public hearing quasi-judicial item number 3, a request for Florida Power and Light Company for a major site plan approval for the White Tail Solar Energy Center. Mr. Walden.
Good morning, sir. This is quasi-judicial as well.
Oh, sorry.
You're wait, yeah.
Well, he was asking, who's the applicant? And I guess it's
Not
FPL.
sure. Sounds vaguely familiar.
Commissioner Jenkins, do you have any ex parte?
I don't believe I do, but if I do, they've been filed.
Commissioner Heatherington?
If any, they've been filed.
Commissioner Campy?
I did have a conversation with one of their reps, and I filed it.
And Commissioner Hurd?
If I have any, they've been filed.
I do. I had similar probably conversations with their folks, and they are filed. Are there any interveners?
No, sir.
Do you have your work history booklet?
I do have the work history and the agenda item to submit as Exhibit 1.
Fantastic. We need to swear in our witnesses. So anybody that's going to be testifying or speaking,
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Good morning, Commissioners. Peter Walden with the Growth Management Department.
Good morning.
And let me get to the agenda item here. This is an application for a major development final site plan. Florida Power and Light Company is proposing the construction of a unmanned 74.5 megawatt photovoltaic solar energy facility, or solar farm, on approximately 600 acres located on the north side of Citrus Boulevard, about 8 miles southwest of the Florida's Turnpike. Included is a request for a certificate of public facilities reservation. The subject site consists of approximately 600 acres, which is on the north half of a larger 1,200-acre tract. The property has been actively farmed for several decades and contains no natural wetlands or upland native habitat. The subject property and parent tract have a land use designation of agricultural and a zoning district designation of A2. The surrounding properties are also designated agricultural and zoned A2. The property is bordered to the west by the South Florida Water Management District C44 stormwater treatment area, and there are no residential uses or public roads adjacent to the development site. The access for the property will be via an improved service path through the front 600 acres. The front parcel will remain in agricultural production. The site is outside of the urban services boundary, and no water or sewer service is planned for the development. Staff has reviewed this application and finds that it complies with all applicable land development regulations and the comprehensive growth management plan as detailed within the staff report. And therefore, staff recommends that the board receive and file the agenda item and all its attachments as Exhibit 1, and move that the board approve the major final site plan for the Whitetail Solar Energy Center. That concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Great, Mr. Walden, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for our staff? Seeing none, Mr. Crady, good morning.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Morris Crady. I'm senior partner with Lucido and Associates, and I am here on behalf of FPL. I do have the proof of notice to surrounding property owners. And Matthew Silver is the developer on this project, so he's got a brief PowerPoint he'd like to take you through. answer any questions.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for allowing me to speak this morning. Again, I'm Matt Silver with Florida Power and Light and Project Director, and here to talk about the FPL Whitetail Solar Energy Center. This will be our...
I think you did stand up and you were sworn in correctly?
That is correct. Thank you. You can go ahead and move to the next, or is there a clicker?
You want to go ahead and use it? Or
Yeah,
I'll,
that's all
I'll be
right.
glad to do it if you...
Perfect. So first, on behalf of FPL, I want to thank Martin County. There's a long history of us partnering with this county. There's a lot of FPLers that live, work, and play in Martin County. I'm sure folks here have neighbors and friends who do. So even on a personal level, before I dive into these numbers, we all, greatly appreciate, what it's like to have this community. But, FPL's proud to serve 83,000 customers here in the county. We're also very proud of one of the largest electrical generating facilities here in Florida, the Martin Clean Energy Center, which is also home to one of our first large-scale solar energy centers, the Martin hybrid natural gas. If you haven't been out there to see it, we're happy to give tours. It's really a sight to behold, that one. But more related to the project here at hand is a project that the board approved in 2020, or that we completed in 2020, the FPL Sweet Bay Solar Energy Center. That's a photovoltaic, similar to like what you have on your calculator that makes electricity. And then, of course, all of this is great, but, money is ultimately, I think, what kind of drives things. And, we contribute about $36 million a year in taxes, and we're proud to do that here in Martin County. Real quick, when we came to you for Sweet Bay a few years back, this was a newer technology, something that wasn't quite as common here in Florida. Since then, it's become much more common. We operate 50 sites around the state. It was 16 more in construction. And I think that we're going to see solar continue to accelerate moving forward in the next few years as it becomes, continues to be the least cost alternative for us to serve our customers. Solar really does make a fantastic rural neighbor. It fits into the community well. The 15,000 customers it provides power for is obviously fantastic for us as the electric utility, but the zero emissions, the quiet nature, the fact that there's no water use, no hazardous chemicals, those are really just fantastic things that help it blend into the rural area that is really where this project's going to be located. This is an aerial photo of the Sweet Bay Solar Energy Center that I mentioned earlier, and you can see they aren't very tall. I've got a slide later where it shows, at the top they're probably about 8 feet tall. So they're not visible to the neighbors of the community. It's not, unfortunately, like the Martin Clean Energy Center where when you're driving down the road you can see it from a few miles out. And then, of course, we talked about the taxes, and then we commit to doing stewardship at each of our site where it varies on location, and it's something we'll do as soon as the project's completed so it doesn't get destroyed by the construction, where we plant pollinators, enhance wetlands, whatever kind of tailored to that specific project will kind of get the best bang for the buck to enhance for the environment. Here are some photos of a PV site. Again, if anybody's ever interested in doing that, we host tours pretty regularly if someone wants to come out. These are sites that either track or fixed. Really the difference just if the panels follow the sun. That top center picture you see there is what's called an inverter. The solar panels make electricity in direct current, just like our car batteries. If you ever try to plug, like your laptop or your phone in, you use an inverter in your car. This is the same technology, just on a much larger scale. But even amongst them, the inverters, they're usually centrally located within the site and aren't visible from outside. Usually hundreds, if not 1,000 feet from the property line. And then a colleague of mine who is very good looking there, he's 6'6", and just to give some perspective as to how tall these panels are, I am not 6'6", so the panels look a little bit taller when I'm standing in the middle of the road. But just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what the finished product looks like. And this is a map to show the rough location. We said it's on Citrus Boulevard, but that's kind of a vague description. It's probably about 5-10 minutes south of I-95. Our neighbors, as we mentioned, it's the Water Management District and then a water farm on the east side, and then it's pretty much unimproved agricultural land to the north. So no immediate residential neighbors. The electric grid, the transmission lines are on property at the front, so we won't be impacting any neighbors with that. We expect to get the DEP approval sometime this month. They've already come out and done a site visit. We spoke with them yesterday. It's, I think, just a matter of completing paperwork. Much like all of us, they're facing staffing challenges. And we're certainly seeking the BOCC's approval today. And we hope to start construction April of next year with completion in January of 2024. This is an aerial rendering of what the finished product will look like when it's completed. And then I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. This is also an aerial photo of Sweet Bay. And if you look really closely in the background, you can kind of see the Martin Clean Energy Center and the
cooling pond that's associated with it in the background. So we like our aerial pictures.
Silver, thank you very much. Any questions or comments for the applicant? Commissioner
I just have a
Heatherington?
comment for the applicant. The slide that you showed about good stewardship and good neighbors, and I will say that that is spot on because the Sweet Bay solar plant was approved several years ago. It was probably one of my, first handful of meetings sitting up here. And it happens to border literally the backyard of my family's home that I grew up in, and my parents still live to this day. So they would say that FP&L is an absolutely amazing neighbor, and everything that you put on that slide has come to fruition. And I think that entire neighborhood of Little Ranch Estates would say that and appreciates it as well. So with that, I'd be happy, pending public comment, to make the motion of approval.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second. Anybody from the public wish to comment on public hearing quasi-judicial item number 3? It is the Whitetail Solar Energy Center being proposed by FPL. Seeing none, back to the board. Another great project. Thank you all for investing in our community. We very much appreciate it. We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all very much. Can't wait for the next one. Just a hint. Okay, next item on the agenda is departmental quasi-judicial. This is a request for approval for the 79th Amendment to the Martin Downs Planned Unit Development Zoning Agreement, included in revised master final site plan and revised phasing plan for the Meridian Marina project. Mr. Walden, good morning. This is quasi-judicial. Commissioner Jenkins.
I don't think I have anybody. If I do, they've been filed.
Commissioner Heatherington.
I do, and they've been filed.
Commissioner Campy.
I do, and they've been filed.
Commissioner Hurd.
I do, and they've been filed.
I do as well, and they have been filed. Do we have any interveners?
No, sir.
We need to, anybody going to testify or speak on behalf of this item, you need to please stand up. Now, you don't have to if you just want to comment at public, but if you're commenting as a portion of the hearing itself, you need to be sworn in.
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, do you have your work history and your book that you're about to turn in?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Walden, back to you.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning again, Commissioners. Get this. That's as big as I can get it here.
There you go.
Okay. This is a request by AC Meridian Marina, LLC, for the 79th Amendment to the Martin Downs PUD zoning agreement for the Meridian Marina. The application includes a revised master final site plan for the approximate 11-acre existing marina and boat storage facility located on the St. Lucie River at 1400 Southwest Chapman Way in Palm City. Included is a request for a certificate of public facilities reservation. The marina development site plan was approved in the late 1980s. It's really old.
It's really old.
Yeah. And the marina has been in operation since the early 90s. The site was part of an approved phased project that included the marina and boat basin, a 12,000 square foot restaurant, dry storage for 325 boats, 17,800 square feet of office, sales, and commercial space, and the Admiralty condominiums. The proposed site plan includes another boat storage building adjacent to the existing to house up to 140 boats, proposed dry racks to accommodate another 140 boats for a total of 540 dry slips. The restaurant will be reduced from 12,000 feet to 6,000 square feet, and the office, retail, and marina sales will be reduced from 17,800 square feet to just 2,800 square feet. And 4 accessory dwelling units also would be added. There is a request to modify the parking requirements pursuant to Section 4.625 of the LDRs. This is not a variance. Parking rate adjustments are available to any site plan proposed for the county, but this is also a PUD, so that would add extra flexibility. County code requires more parking for dry boat storage than practical. We've had recent approvals. AA Marina recently parked their dry slips at 1 space per 20, just to give you a for instance. And and also residential storage follows suits. We also do a lot of parking rate adjustments for those as well. And also, the parking rates do not take into effect the sharing of parking for all the proposed uses. This is the north and eastern elevations. Aesthetic improvements are proposed for the existing building, and the proposed improvements meet commercial design to the extent possible, but alternative compliance approval is requested pursuant to Section 4.874. The building doesn't meet all of the requirements for commercial design as far as roof undulation and the movement of the building, and this is common with these kind of storage facilities and warehouse facilities where we try to meet the aesthetic value rather than every instance of the code. This is the south and west elevations. As you can see, the same architectural elements are added to enhance the facades and improve the appearance of the existing building. There's substantial landscaping improvements proposed for the site. The landscape buffer for the residents to the site south has been augmented, and there are a tree planting program to screen the dry storage racks from the road as well. Development review staff have reviewed the application and finds it in compliance with all applicable regulations as detailed in the attached staff report. And staff recommends this board move to file the agenda item and all its attachments, including the staff report, as Exhibit 1. And move that the board approve the request for the 79th Amendment to the Martin Downs PUD agreement, including the revised master final site plan for the Meridian Marina project, including the parking rate adjustment and commercial design alternative compliance. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Well, thank you for that. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, first of all, let's address the west and north facades of the building, which are considered primary facades, which requires the control of building mass, and also design features. It doesn't. Are those requirements met?
To the extent possible, we worked with the applicant to address the aesthetic value of the building. The building mass does not move according to code because it's a storage facility, and that would encumber the actual use in the building by having them move the floor in and out 3 feet in certain areas, and that wouldn't necessarily add any aesthetic value to the property. So we allowed them to do that change, and also the roof doesn't undulate like it normally would with a commercial building. It's more of a storage building, and they need the ceiling height, so therefore we worked with them on that as well. They incorporated many design features into the building to make it look as aesthetically pleasing as possible, and we feel that meets the intent of the commercial design, and that's why alternative compliance is available. And it's also, again, a PUD, so it's twice able to make these adjustments.
So our requirements say that no continuous wall plane shall exceed 100 linear feet, nor constitute more than 60% of the building's total length. All primary facades shall consist of at least 4 design features along a minimum of 50% of the horizontal length. Neither of those appears to have been met. So where's the alternative compliance codified?
Well, you mentioned the roof, the building going for 100 feet without moving. That's what I mentioned is that's impracticable for a storage facility. We feel that the architectural part of the equation has been met, and I believe the applicant will probably go into further detail.
And how do you make a determination that it's impractical to meet these requirements?
by the use of the building. This is something that we normally do in all industrial and storage and warehouse facilities. We don't require that. It's more of something for a commercial building that has standards in the public realm, where this isn't necessarily fronting a urban street.
I think that there's a difference between this occurring in an industrial zoned area or in a residential area. There's a variance request for parking. The parking is being reduced by 65 or so spaces, and yet the uses are enhanced. There's going to be a restaurant where one doesn't exist now, and there are going to be additional boats. So now there are going to be 540 total boats, so enhanced use and decreased parking.
Well, much of the commercial and retail use has been reduced substantially, and as well as the restaurant use, which are the big parking rate generators. We normally, our parking rate adjustment our parking rates don't take into effect any shared uses, and we feel that the restaurant use will be at a different time schedule than the dry boat storage use. And also,
Is the restaurant not going to be open during the day?
Well, it may be, but normally it's busier during the evening hours when the parking for the boat storage wouldn't be as in play. And also, we found historically that a parking rate of 1 to 20 slips is more appropriate than the 1 to 5 that's in our code. And we find this not only with dry boat storage, but residential storage facilities and other type of warehouse facilities that we generally overpark. That's why the parking rate adjustment is there for all site plan applications.
So this is not in compliance with our code for parking?
It is in compliance with our code because of the parking rate adjustment. That is available.
How many spaces would be required for the restaurant, and how many spaces would be required for the storage facility?
Go to the site plan real quick.
Don't combine them. Separate them, please.
Sure.
We can talk about Commissioners, good morning. Paul Schilling, Growth Management Director. I think we may get into the applicant's presentation on this matter. However, I would just point out that the restaurant is not only open to the public, but it's also open to the users of the facility, meaning the in-and-out storage. So the presumption is that there will be people parking their vehicle there and then utilizing the restaurant. So it's not a destination, if you will, necessarily. And Peter touched on that a little bit. It's a shared concept. It's people that are utilizing the facility for boats. They come back in the evening and maybe partake in the restaurant.
But a presumption is not part of our code.
Right.
What our code is based upon facts, and the applicant has to comply. So it's not just we believe that there's going to be shared use. That's not part of our requirements.
I would just point out that there are operations similar to this throughout the country. The applicant can probably speak to those. They do operate these facilities elsewhere. So part of the equation on all of these matters is what is the actual business operation as opposed to the black and white of the code necessarily.
Okay. And to add to that, the parking calculations are on the final site plan. The required are provided as well as the required is shown as well as the provided. And a parking rate analysis was provided by the applicant, which they might be able to share with us today, but that they do own quite a few marina facilities around the country, and this was also based on their analysis, as not just staff's.
Yeah, but their requirements for their other locations don't interest me. Our requirements interest me. I think that we have an obligation to uphold our requirements. That's why they're there. The external boat racks, is that an allowable use?
Absolutely. It's a commercial marina.
Okay, and the 4 accessory dwelling units?
The waterfront commercial land use permits it. It is a PUD that'll allow it. That is up to the board's discretion as well.
Okay, those are the questions I have right now.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? Hearing none at this moment.
Mr. Walden and Mr. Schilling?
Is this part of your presentation or?
No, these are questions as part of the quasi-judicial procedure.
That's fine. I'm just.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just explaining, yeah.
Thank you. Because I would have called you up and asked you to do that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I wasn't sure, because sometimes they don't expect it. Thank you. For the record, Bob Raines, I'm an attorney with the Gunster Law Firm, here on behalf of the applicant. Mr. Walden, if I could ask you a few questions. Sir, you have been sworn in, correct? And can you please state again for the record, I know you mentioned your position, but can you? Deputy Growth Management Director. And can you give us a little, I think you turned your resume in, but we didn't see it. Can you give us just a little bit of your work history and your time with the county? I've been with the county for 7 years in development review for the entire time. And prior to that, in many different facilities as far as in the private sector. Okay, and what's your responsibilities with the county? What is it? I'm responsible for development review for the Growth Management Department. And you review the applications and make sure they're in compliance? Is that? Yes, sir. Fair statement? And in your position, I assume you're familiar with the Martin County Land Development Regulations and the Martin County Comprehensive Plan? Yes, sir. And so, in this particular case, can you describe what your role was here for us with this particular project? I was actually project coordinator for this application, and it's been under review for about 1.5 years, and we've taken it through several iterations of the application process. Entire development staff has weighed in, from Public Works to Fire Marshal, so we've found it in compliance. Okay, thank you. And so the staff report for this application has been submitted and is part of the record for the hearing today, is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. And so did all the required departments find the application in compliance with the Martin County Land Development Regulations and the Comprehensive Plan? Yes, sir. And just for the record, those departments would include the Environmental Department and the Community Development Department that reviews the commercial design standards, is that correct? Yes, the commercial design standards were reviewed by Growth Management, yes. Okay. And Mr. Walden, can a project have alternative compliance of the commercial design standards and still be consistent with the comprehensive plan? Yes, sir. And in your professional opinion, sir, does this application comply with the Martin County Land Development Regulations? Yes. And also in your professional opinion, is this application in compliance with the policies, goals, and objectives of the Martin County Comprehensive Plan? Yes. Thank you. I do have just a few questions for Mr. Schilling also. Mr. Schilling, I assume you've been sworn in, sir?
Yes.
And can you please state your name for the record and your position with the county?
Paul Schilling, Growth Management Director.
And how long have you been with the county, sir?
Coming up on 16 years now.
And what's your responsibility as a growth management director?
I'm responsible for a team of growth management professionals that manage these applications, development review applications, comprehensive planning applications, building permits, environmental permitting, commercial design reviews, whether they be by way of building permits or single-family homes or projects. So I have a wide variety of applications at any given time that we're reviewing.
And in your role, with respect to this project, did you review the application materials and the staff report that was issued?
Yes.
And, sir, in your professional opinion, or is this application, does it comply with the Martin County Land Development Regulations and the policy and goals of the objectives of the comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raines. Mr. Crady, are you?
I'm going to go first here. Sorry, if we're going to that.
This will be the applicant's part of the applicant.
Yes, presentation, yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, for the record, Bob Raines here on behalf of the applicant, AC Meridian Marina LLC. And I would like to begin our presentation by stating for the record that we have received and reviewed the staff report and would like to state for the record that we agree with the comments and the conclusions and the recommendations in that report. As has been stated by Mr. Walden, we are here today requesting an approval of a 79th Amendment to the Martin Downs PUD zoning agreement and revised master final site plan for an existing Meridian Marina. So at this time,
I'd like to first have come up Mr. Crady, and he'll do a quick presentation. I have just a few questions for Mr. Crady before he begins his presentation, though. So, Morris, can you please state your name for the record?
Morris Crady.
And you've been sworn in, correct, sir?
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about your education and work history?
Yes, I've been working in Martin County now for 41 years, first as a Martin County planner from 1982 to 1990, and now I'm senior partner with Lucido and Associates, land planning firm in Stewart, Martin County.
Okay. And describe your role in this particular project, please.
I coordinated the application, met with Jenny in Austin when they purchased the property, and developed this revised site plan under the 79th PUD amendment, and worked with them to coordinate the staff review, and also gave them guidance on how to correct existing problems and how to formulate a plan that would be successful.
Okay, and did you prepare the presentation that you're going to make today?
Yes.
Okay,
I did.
thank you. Please.
Good. Good evening, or good morning still?
Morning.
It was a late night trying to prepare this application, but and I had to go back in time a little bit. And for those of you that don't know me, I worked in Martin County as Development Review Administrator beginning April 1st, 1982 through 1990. And interestingly enough, Martin Downs PUD, DRI, was a Development of Regional Impact, was approved in 1981, even before the comprehensive plan was adopted. And this was the vision of Peter Cummings back in 1981, and is really, I think, was the comprehensive plan for Martin Downs before there was a comprehensive plan. And Peter had a great vision. This is, Monarch Country Club, Martin Downs Country Club, Crane Creek Country Club, are all part of the Martin Downs facilities. Sand Hill Cove to the north here, assisted living facility, Regency Nursing Care. It was a mixed-use project of the time that really set the future of how Palm City would be developed, and frankly, I think it was a success. There was one parcel that had waterfront commercial capability, and that's the parcel that we're here today. It's on the end. Sand Hill Cove was also on the waterfront, but all this area is mangrove preserves, and even though, at the time before the comprehensive plan was adopted, those could be cleared and developed, Mr. Cummings chose not to make that happen. Instead, he purchased this parcel, which was already under development, believe it or not. The previous owner was going to build a canal similar to the canals that were going up and down the coast and put in residential housing there on a man-made canal. So this parcel has been impacted since the early 70s and was an ideal site for the waterfront commercial project that we're talking about today. And what's interesting, that, as I said, this is a current aerial, and for the most part, even though there's been 78 amendments to the PUD, they've been tweaks. And the master plan envisioned by Mr. Cummings, which included Hidden Oaks Elementary, Bessie Creek Elementary, industrial uses, apartment uses, the town center, actually developed the way it was proposed. And even at that time, when there was really no development out here, Martin Downs was 2,500 acres. It had 4,500 units. Mr. Cummings thought there'd be a need in the future for boat storage. And so the only site that was suitable was this parcel here. And this is the only parcel in Palm City that has public use marina. Anybody else that has a boat that wants to store a boat has to cross one of the two bridges to get to a marine facility in Stewart or on the east side of the North Fork. So this is the only facility in Palm City and probably serves about 10,000 units today. So boat storage is a critical demand and a critical need. Here's a closer look of the area. And again, this is Monarch Country Club. This is Palm City Park. All of this was part of the PUD that was preserved. This is Pendarvis Cove Park, which is all preserved and now owned by the South Florida Water Management District, and Sand Hill Cove. There's also a few single-family homes on this track that we'll talk about in a moment. So in that was the approved plan in 1981. There was changes over the years, and phase one of this site, which was called Parcel 29, it was called the Martin Downs Marina Village. It was always intended to be oriented towards marine uses, was the construction of Southwest Chapman Way. And Southwest Chapman Way is now a public road. It was built by the developer and then deeded to the county. Provides legal access to the properties. It provides legal access to the lots that were recorded lots at the time, where there's currently single-family homes in this area, and it provided access to the Admiralty condominiums. So phase one included the harbor, the existing boat basin. It included the southern buffer, which is a 6-foot berm planted with landscape, and it also included the stormwater system, this existing lake. And then phase two came along, and that's when I kind of got involved as development review administrator for Martin County. I actually signed off on this plan. It was reviewed by my cohort Suzanne Sims at the time, but I did present it to the county commission and recommended approval, and it was approved. Phase two was the boat building, the existing boat building. It included the parking on the south side of the boat building and the access to the boat building. So that was phase two. Phase three was the Admiralty condominiums, and that was, they were actually got approved in the 1990s, and I think completed it around the year 2000. And then phase four was the restaurant. This was a 12,000 square foot restaurant, and that was approved right next to the Admiralty, right on the roadway of Chapman Way. And one of the changes that we're making today is to move that restaurant to an existing the waterfront commercial office building, which was also part of phase two when it was constructed. So there is an existing building here that you can see closely. But this was the approved plan at the time, 325 boat slips, 20-something thousand marine cells, a 12,000 square feet restaurant, and this is how it looks today. Admiralty condominium has been constructed. Unfortunately, the aerial doesn't go up there, but there are 4 single-family homes, and you'll hear from those residents today. And as was mentioned, this is phase two. The restaurant wasn't built. This is the existing commercial building where they have office and operations. This is the existing berm over the past 40 years. The trees are surviving. There's very tall trees there, but the understory has been, for the most part, impacted. So we're replacing that buffer with thick hedge of material, vegetation, and we also will probably put a fence in the middle of that just for security purposes. What we're looking at today is we're amending that approved plan, which was parcel 29, to eliminate, first of all, the Admiralty condominiums, because those are complete. They don't need to be part of this master plan. And we're eliminating the sales center, the retail and office component, and replacing that with another dry boat storage building, and then putting in additional boat stacks here along the frontage of the building, and adding parking. All this parking will be added and improving the circulation. Now, all this right now is stabilized. There's not really parking here. It's just an open field, so that will get corrected. And then phase four will be the restaurant building in the future. Now, we're not here today to get final site plan approval of the restaurant. We're here today just to get final site plan approval of the additional boat storage building and the outdoor racks and the parking and the landscape enhancement. So that's what will be approved today. We're envisioning that we'll probably come back in the future for an amendment to the PUD to do that, but we'll talk about that in a moment. This is a rendering again of the site plan, showing the various uses and the improvements that we're making. There's really no buffer here along Chapman Way now. There are some large trees, but again, the understory wasn't maintained by the previous owner, and there's exotic vegetation that needs to be removed. So the new owners are cleaning up the site significantly with respect to landscape and the environment. In fact, there was an open pit here that was left by the previous owner that was under a DEP cleanup order, and Jenny and Austin put it upon themselves to correct that, and they got signed off by DEP, and that's been resolved completely. So it is a clean marina site. They're going to operate as a clean marina. There's no major boat repairs or anything like that that goes on here. And as far as architectural requirements, as was mentioned, there are some requirements that are suitable for retail and office buildings, and there are some requirements that are not suitable for warehouse and storage buildings. But that doesn't mean the building is going to look ugly. In fact, we added all of these, I should say, we, Austin and Jenny, agreed to make all of these architectural enhancements along the building that were not otherwise required, but that's how we compensate for not doing the 3-foot indent every 100 feet. We're adding more aesthetics to the building so that it meets the code. And again, this is the west elevation looking, and that's going to get treated in accordance with the guidelines. And then on the back of the building, that was the south elevation there. Let me go backwards again, just so you're clear where we are. This is the south elevation that's facing the residential homes on the south side, the Pelican Cove subdivision. And that's the west elevation will be facing Map Road. And then the elevation along Chapman Way is the north elevation. This is the new building that's being constructed, and these are the racks that are going in front of the existing building. And this is the east elevation, which does meet all the architectural requirements. And that's, again, facing the restaurant in this particular case. So we did hear the concern about the view along Chapman Way, and one of the things we did right up front was make sure that these racks are screened from view for the traveling public, and also there is a sidewalk on the other side of Chapman Way that someone could walk on. So we're installing a 3-foot berm within this buffer strip. This hedge material that will go in will be a minimum of 6 feet. We're putting in a minimum 14-foot trees. These are native green buttonwood trees and oaks that will grow obviously much taller, but upon installation, we'll have a 17-foot tall opaque screen of vegetation along the roadway that will screen the view of these racks from traveling public along Chapman Way and pedestrians along the public sidewalk. And this is the mangrove preserve, which is to the north. We do meet all the county's height requirements. We were very careful in making sure that we met the literal interpretation of how 40 feet is measured. So we are no more than the 40-foot mean height, which matches the existing building. So we're no taller than the existing building. We made sure that there was adequate room for turnaround, for looking specifically at the equipment that the owners are using. We had computer-generated diagrams showing that there's plenty of room for the operator to work without impacting vehicles that are parked in this area. This area is primarily for the boat owners and employees. Most of the restaurant parking will occur on the south side, and that will be primarily valet parking. I do want to mention that Martin County does acknowledge commercial marinas as an important component of the economy and also an important recreational value to the residents. The siting criteria for commercial marina, the first one is proximity and access to population centers and navigable water bodies. Again, we've got probably 10,000 units in Palm City and only one boat storage building. So the priority here is to build boat storage. The restaurant, reducing it from 12,000 to 6,000 square feet was really because we needed more boat storage, not restaurant. And so, that, and we do feel we are asking for about a 25% reduction in the parking for the restaurant because we feel that the people that are using the facility, the employees and the the people that are using at least 30% of those people will probably use the restaurant. And the people in the neighborhood and to Admiralty condominium, they don't have to drive to this facility. They can walk to this facility. So, and there's also 20 spaces that are in the harbor that will allow for people to access the restaurant by boat. So it's very important that we address the comprehensive plan requirement, which gives a great a deference to public facilities that are, or marine facilities that are open to the public. And it does also say preference shall be given to sites that have already been legally disturbed over sites requiring clearing of sensitive natural coastal habitat. And there is no other opportunities in Palm City that wouldn't require clearing of mangroves and other natural shoreline habitat. Again, going back to the priority of waterfront uses in the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, the number one priority is public boat ramps and public use marinas, and that's what we're here as a public use marina. There is a boat ramp, but I think it's for passive boats at Pendarvis Cove. So the combination of having a passive Pendarvis Cove park near a marine facility, I think, is a great combination. And it does target businesses that are water dependent. You know, the people that are working here, the people that are cleaning the boats and utilizing these facilities are all water dependent. But we based on meetings with commissioners and also Jenny and Austin's canvassing the neighborhood, we are going to make some adjustments to the restaurant site. We don't, again, the restaurant site is a future phase. It's not being approved as final site plan today. We don't have plans for it. We're talking with 2 local restaurant operators, and we're probably 1 or 2 years out from actually having a plan for that. The priority is to build the boat storage as soon as possible. That's what they're going to be working on. So we are willing to reduce the number of accessory dwelling units from 4 to 1, just so we could have a unit available for the owner or their caretaker, someone that can stay on the site. And that's not necessarily going to happen, but we do want to maintain that right in the future. The building will be no more than 2 stories. It's currently 2 stories. We're going to keep it at 2 stories. We're not going to 3 stories. And we're not doing any type of rooftop event. That's not going to be part of the operation. And we also agreed to no live band music. The most that's going to occur within the restaurant or out on a deck will be a solo act, a duet, and we'll have a hard stop at 9 p.m. on all those activities. But what I want to say is that we're okay with putting off the restaurant, agreeing to do another PUD amendment for the restaurant when we get ready to go forward with that. And at that time, we'll continue to meet with the residents because we want to make sure that all of their, and Austin and Jenny wants to make sure that all of their concerns are met. They're going to be here for the long haul. So we will agree as a condition of approval to come back and do a PUD amendment to get the final site plan approved for the restaurant as a condition of approval. And with that, Bob, if you wanted to wrap up and maybe introduce.
Well, here, I've got a couple of questions for you real quick, too. So you're familiar with the Martin County rules and regulations in the comprehensive plan?
Yes.
And in your professional opinion, does this project and this application that you submitted and worked on meet all the rules and requirements of the Martin County LDRs and the comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, at this time, I'd like to ask Austin and Jenny Cameron to come up, the owners and the applicants for this project, to just tell you a little bit about what their plans are for this site.
Good morning. Welcome.
Hello, guys. Well, I'm not the best public speaker, so I want to try to do okay here without messing up. I also want to thank you guys for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to come in front of everyone to present what we think is going to be an incredible project. I also want to thank the county staff. This has been, I'm not a developer. Mainly, most of the time, it's operating the marinas. And so this has been a daunting process and an exciting one, but your staff is incredible. The amount of feedback and, corrections and guidance, and I want you to know that they have the best interest of the county absolutely at heart. It was apparent from day one. So I'll start with my deal. A great marina is not a boat parking lot. A great marina is not a garage for boats. A marina is a living, breathing community of boaters, neighbors, marina team members, and guests to interact with each other on the first part of their day and the last part of their day of fun. We are where the day starts and the day ends if you happen to be someone lucky enough to get to be out on the water or just even by the water. Or you may just be at the marina working on your boat or looking to de-stress and go sit on your boat for a while. For many, the water is a stress relief, calming medicine that the body needs. Just looking at it sometimes does the trick. If you're a boater, the marina is the gateway to fun, the gateway to family connections, fun with friends, making memories that last a lifetime. Some people get engaged on the water. Some people meet their significant other. Some people have the last memory that they'll ever have with a loved one on the water. And that has all happened at our marinas. And that's why I'm in the marina business. Every favorite memory I had as a child was on the water or around the water. I mean, I wasn't even around the water that much. It was about 2 or 3 weeks a year I got to go to my grandfather's lake house. And that was some of my favorite memories. I remember a day that my grandfather let us skip church and go to the water instead of going to church that morning. And I was all excited because, I'm like 7 years old. And I remember we did a famous free swim. So we're floating behind my grandfather's boat. Me and my cousins were there, my brothers. And then after we got done hanging out, here he goes into a sermon and he's preaching to us on the water. And he said, you can do church anywhere that you are. And we're doing it out here tonight. Or not tonight, but this morning. That was one of my best days ever. One of the other best days ever is my beautiful wife here, who I'd been stalking and I'm pretty tenacious, so I kept trying to get her to go on a date with me. Finally, when I bumped into her on the water, is when she finally agreed to go on a date with me. It is our responsibility and privilege to help to create those experiences by building a boating, to help create the community by building, maintaining, staffing, supporting, and enhancing the marina that we have the awesome responsibility to take care of. People don't even think about it really if you're doing it right as a marina owner. They just say, gosh, that marina feels good. It's a fun place to be. The marina shouldn't get the credit. It should be the people going out there and having fun. But if we're doing our job as a marina owner, the place should be incredibly well maintained, incredible good customer service, and it builds a community. It becomes part of the hub. As Morris is showing you on the plans, we're the only access for all the residents in Palm City to get to the water. Whether they store their boat at our marina, whether they come down to the marina, we have so many neighbors that just walk around the marina, or they get to sit on the patio and eat at the restaurant. We are a big part of the community. Our job is to make boating easier and more fun, and that's what we're doing at Meridian Marina. And we want to bring that to as many people as we can with the property. Now, who are we? Who are we? My wife and I, we have 2 children, a 3.5-year-old daughter named Colty, and our son's 2. His name is Hudson. We're a family business. We own and operate marinas. I've got 13 years in the business. I'm 43. I learned how to water ski at 2.5. So I've got almost 41 years in the water world. But 13 years I've been in the marina business. We're not only a family business with our family, but the Meridian Marina is also a family business with our amazing managers. Rick, his wife Jennifer, their daughter Kaylin, and their son Ryan all work at the marina. We came in and we bought the facility and we met the amazing team that's there and we have supported them. We've enhanced them. You've met Jeannie earlier this morning. She was literally bringing toilet paper to the marina because the prior ownership wouldn't pay for toilet paper. And so our job is to support them. We are super happy to be here in Palm City. We walk our kids down to the park. We're living on our boat at the marina right now. Hopefully the the accessory dwellings will work. We'll have a place we can have a little bit more room there. But we walk our kids down to the park. They play on in the playground. But we love the area. We've fallen in love with the area. We may be new to the community, but we are putting some pretty significant money into the facility. We're not planning on taking, on our financial plan, we get our first paycheck in about 7 years. That's not BS. We are putting money in it to make it great, and then we'll be able to start, taking income off of it. So we bought the marina out of bankruptcy. It was in complete disrepair. The roof was falling in, the holes in the side. Essentially, it was uninsurable. We bought the marina uninsurable with an open environmental claim. There's not a lot of people that were able to do that. We were able to talk our bank into, we had an offer to do all cash, but we had to talk our bank into insuring the building with hurricanes excluded, which is a pretty big risk. We had to get the roof done and the siding on before June 1st, so it would be insurable for hurricane, which we got done. We had an open environmental claim where there was a big gaping hole there, which was incredibly unsightly, very unsafe, and not good for the environment. And because the concrete was so messed up, every time it would rain or anything would happen, water would flow into the river, which is not supposed to happen. But with a hole there and broken concrete, you couldn't stop that from happening. The forklift was leaking oil, leaking hydraulic fluid. Neither forklift had brakes when we bought it. No brakes on the forklift. How do you drive a forklift with no brakes? It's crazy. So we immediately came in, bought a new forklift, put stops up. If we fixed the concrete as fast as we could as soon as we got the stamp from DAP. Now all the water flows in the proper drainage channels. One of the big things that we're going to do underneath the outside racks is that's going to be a wash area where we're going to have recycled water. Water is going to flow into a reclaimed water system. The water will go into there, be recycled, and be reused again to wash the boats. We've got to have the enhancements to the facility to make it a 2023 marina, not a 1988 marina. And we're doing those improvements. In the last 18 months, we've put millions of dollars. We've fixed everything we can spend, and we're still doing it. We've done that with the help of local contractors. All the money staying in Martin County. You'll get to hopefully hear from one of the guy that did the concrete was local. The guy that did the roof was local. Everyone has been local that we've used. We're improving the environment, closing environmental issues, buying new forklifts, and we're putting. And I can't wait to start landscaping this thing. First thing Morris said, he's like, man, you better be ready to spend some serious money on landscaping. This is never passing. And to the tune of like $300,000 or $400,000. I'm like, that's a lot of landscaping. So I'm like, let's do it. We're going to make this great. So if I don't get off of here, I'm going to talk forever. I want my wife to tell you about what we've done with the neighborhoods. We've been really trying. I care deeply about what our neighbors think. And Jenny told me if I don't stop talking, I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm a talker. I'll be here all day. And I guess I don't have a dinger. She's wishing they had a ding. So, all right, Jenny's up.
Thank you. From the very get-go with this project, our number one goal has been to make this marina the beautiful place that fits this beautiful community that everyone will be so proud of and so proud to walk past if they're a neighbor, so proud to drive up to and bring their family and their guests to if they're a marina member.
Let me just hit this so that you can see it.
Okay, so thanks. We're successful in this business by doing good for the community and the neighborhood. Those are our customers. Those are our friends that we've befriended over the last 18 months with the time that we've been here and gotten to know everybody. And so we started this project early on by talking with the neighbors, hearing their ideas, getting their feedback, and just understanding how we can be a good neighbor. They've been looking at an eyesore or pulling up to an eyesore when they come to get on their boats or walking past it. So we've been fortunate enough to have befriended a lot of the people in the neighborhood, including the leaders of the POAs at the Admiralty, Pat with the marina, and Diane with the condominiums. And they were so very helpful in helping us set up a town hall meeting that we were able to have with the residents of the Admiralty in June of 2021, so about a year ago, a little over a year ago, to do a little bit more of a formal presentation. But, most of our outreach has been walking our kids every single day to the park when the marina closes, like clockwork. So we especially know everyone in the neighborhood that has small kids, but our kids are a lot cuter than we are, so they're a good conversation starter. Everyone comes up, talks to us. So we've gotten to know and talk with so many of the neighbors along all sides of the marina, so many of the Palm City residents that frequent the parks, so many of our amazing members that keep their boat at the marina, both new and longtime customers that have been with us. And the support has just been overwhelming. We've gotten so much, and we've been so humbled by so much gratitude that people were tired of looking at the sad state of just, what should be a gem of a property, and just the appreciation that it's already looking better. We think we're really just in the early stages of this, but the support and the appreciation that we're moving it in the right direction, making the necessary improvements, has been really wonderful. So we'll just wrap up by saying we're so excited about this project. We're honored and humbled to have the opportunity and the great responsibility to do this right, and to do this right for the community and for the neighborhood. And that is our absolute goal and commitment if we get the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Raines?
Yes. That concludes our presentation. I believe we've shown through expert testimony, competent substantial evidence that we meet all the requirements of the Martin County Land Development Regulations and the Comprehensive Plan. We have a staff report on the record that shows that each of the applicable agencies of the county have found the application in compliance with the Land Development Regulations and the Comprehensive Plan, and recommends a recommendation of approval. And so we would respectfully request that you accept staff's recommendation and approve the request before you today, the application before you today, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. I'm sure there will be a few.
Okay. So just kind of doing a little time management here.
Yes.
We have about 30 minutes plus or minus of public comment.
Okay.
I don't know how much time commissioners will have questions of you or for the applicant, but we will go till 12:30.
Okay.
And then if we're not done at that, we'll come back. But
Okay.
just kind of monitor everybody's kind of thought process and.
Sure. Nope, we appreciate the consideration. We'll do whatever you
Okay.
see fit. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Raines or for the applicant? Sorry, Bob. Commissioner Hurd.
My first question is for staff, and it's about a public comment, and that was about the $143 permit fee to replace the roof. And our inspector said, I'm quoting, "All sheet metal panels of the entire roof and one entire side, 500 feet long by 38 feet high of the metal building have been replaced. About 75% of building envelope, no drawings available, need inspection letter from engineer for all replaced panels." Did you check this out?
That was a building permit through the building department, so that did not go through, did not have to have growth management review. It was a repair and replace permit, I believe.
Commissioner, that was reviewed, those comments were reviewed by the building official.
Okay, so it wasn't part of your compliance review?
No, this was done.
No, that was a retrofit of an existing building for the purposes of enclosing the building.
Okay.
Commissioner, I did discuss that with Mr. Massing. It is a typical permit process for, similar to any commercial building, replacing roof or other structures for middle buildings, the replacing of the skin is a common practice, and so that was approved by the building official under his purview, and was not associated with this current application.
Okay, storage rack heights. Also, how many boats are proposed to be stored outside? And what is the storage rack height?
140 boats outside, and it's 40 feet, same as the building height.
Okay, so the storage racks are 40 feet tall.
Yes.
And will there be boats stored on the top rack?
There's no prohibition against that, and we are planning on screening all the boats from view.
So they're going to be stored at 60 feet?
It depends on the size of the boat.
55 feet?
It depends on the boat and if they can even get them up there.
What did staff think about that?
Our building height requirements are for the structures only. We have other boat racks that have been approved throughout Martin County at 40 feet high, and parking structures.
So I'm taking that as yes, they will be boats stored above 40 feet.
And we did take that into account with our buffer plan.
Okay. You're proposing to add a lot of new impervious area? A lot.
There's no increase in impervious area from this plan and what was originally approved.
And the Admiralty is being removed. Is the Admiralty providing any stormwater treatment for this parcel?
No.
So the existing lake is the existing lake. No additional stormwater treatment is proposed.
I think they have exfiltration trenches underneath the, I'm sure they do, underneath the proposed parking. There's additional retention underneath the parking that the county requires.
Okay, I'm looking at the PUD amendment, and it says, revise Phase 4 to reduce the size of the proposed restaurant from 12,000 square feet to approximately 6,000 square feet. But it also says renovate and expand the existing waterfront building and increase the maximum height from 1 story to 3 stories.
It's actually 2 stories now. That was a mistake, and we're going to keep it at
What's
2
in the
stories.
amendment?
Yeah, and it's going to get corrected. It's a mistake. So its
What is it going to be
current one is
revised?
2 stories, and we're going to keep it at 2 stories.
With a rooftop
No roof.
access?
No rooftop access. We agreed not to do that.
All right.
So the PUD amendment will get changed to make sure those conditions are changed.
Another condition, provide additional boat storage, access, and parking to increase the number of dry storage boats from 325 to 540, and yet parking spaces are being decreased, even though the amendment says they're going to be increased.
We're building 98 additional parking spaces. That's not
You're
currently
reducing the parking spaces from,
From what's required in the parking rates, not from what's.
We're not reducing parking, yes. Parking on the south side of the building will remain as is, and, that's all existing, and we're adding the parking on the north side of the building as shown.
so explain to me again how you're increasing and decreasing the parking spaces.
For the record, Bob Raines, the increase in the parking spaces is from the approved site plan to this site plan. The decrease, the parking.
So what's the increase from what to what?
Okay.
And what's the decrease from what to what?
Well,
Well, again, it's
I
on
have the mouse so we can get the plan back up. Thank you. Exit, escape. Thank you. There you go.
I have it on here too. You want to answer it?
Go ahead, if you got the,
Yeah, I mean,
they directed it to you, I can help if you'd like.
we have existing 53 parking spaces on the south side of the building, and we're adding the additional to make a total of 151 spaces.
But the required is 214.
Required is 214 without a parking rate adjustment. If you acknowledge the code, which allows for a parking rate adjustment, and the uses on the building, then you can go down.
Okay,
And
so
we-
there's a decrease, not an increase.
No, and that's the point I want to make. The comment in the PUD is that there's an increase in the parking from the approved site plan to the site plan that's before you today. That's what the increase is. The decrease in parking that you're talking about is not a decrease in parking, it's a parking rate adjustment as to what the new site plan will show. But there's more parking on this site plan today than was on the approved site plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the questions I have right now.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions?
After is public.
Public comment.
Okay. We will go to public. We are going to break at 12:30. I do have about 30 minutes of public comment. And so commissioners, just be thinking about that. If we have to come back after lunch, we will. Just a couple questions for some of our public speakers, because some things didn't get filled out. Julian, is it Julian Riley? Did you want to speak to this item? I'm sorry? Okay, great. Sean Reed, you have no information on yours. Did you want to speak to this item? This item? Okay, thank you. We will start with Diana Lott, please. And following Diane, Brent, is it Kane? Good morning. Good afternoon. No, still morning by a few minutes.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Diane Lott. I'm a resident of the Admiralty condominiums right next door to the Marina. I represent myself as well as my husband David, and although I'm the HOA president of the Admiralty Board of Directors, I am not acting officially on behalf of the board. We would like to voice our opinion on the proposed restaurant at the Marina. Upon their purchase of the property out of bankruptcy, the new owners began to do numerous repairs that the previous owner neglected. There was significant damage to the sides and roof of the storage barn, whole sheets of siding missing due to previous hurricane damage. We had our boat stored there for a couple of years before they purchased it and chose to move it from it because we found that it was poorly run. When we had them launch the boat, we found rusty flakes of metal on the floor of the boat coming from the barn's roof because we were on the top rack. More importantly, there was environmental issues that were never addressed by the previous owner. The Camerons have done a wonderful job with repairing the storage barn and cleaning up the environmental mess. The property looks much better than I've ever seen it. The restaurant will be a magnificent addition to the property on the point. This will give the Palm City residents and neighbors a much-needed waterfront restaurant nearby. In my position as the HOA president, I have had multiple conversations with the new owners. When they bought the Marina a year and a half to 2 years ago, they expressed a sincere interest in meeting with the residents at the Admiralty. So I set up a meeting for them to introduce themselves to the residents where they brought mock-ups of the design and their vision. The restaurant was discussed at the time, and there was and continues to be overwhelming support amongst 80% of our community for the improvements and restaurant. I received 37 respondents for the support, which is 79% of our community. This is backed up by a poll that we took last week. The Admiralty is a small community of 5 buildings, 49 units in total. The poll taken showed that the majority of the residents that responded would frequent and support the restaurant. My husband and I would hope that you will approve building the restaurant at the Marina's Point, as this will enhance convenience of not having to drive into Stewart to enjoy waterfront dining. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker is Brent Kane. Following Mr. Kane, Mark Kirk. If you want to come on up front, that'll save us a little bit of time as we kind of try to compress this as much as possible. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Try to make this quick here. So my wife and I, we just moved into Pelican Cove, which is just on the south side of the Marina, back in January. We had lived in Palm City for about 10 years prior to that. Since January, we've been improving the house, and we have, first moved into the house. My wife and I toured the obvious area, including the Marina, and we're just really disappointed in the kind of the look and the aesthetics of it. Since then, just honestly, 2 weeks ago, we had taken the golf cart over, went through, and were just completely blown away by what we had seen when we first started looking in this area. A week ago, I got a chance to meet Austin and Jennifer, and just some great conversations with them about what the plans were, additional storage. We're on the water in Pelican Cove there, but we're, limited space, 2 boats. We're looking for something to keep a second boat closer. So this is going to be a great opportunity for us. We're excited by that, plus a possible hurricane storage program, as far as keeping a boat indoors afterwards. So we're super excited. My wife and I are 100% on board with this. And again, we live probably about 100 yards from the Marina property. So, I mean, we're right there and excited by that. And then the second piece of it is the restaurant. Neighborhood we lived in before was Oak Brook Estates, which was right basically next door to Townies. My wife and I were probably there 3-4 times a week for lunch or dinner. We would have meetings there for work. Where we live now, there's nothing over there. So this is going to be a great opportunity, whether we walk, drive, or take the golf cart, or take the boat over to, for a restaurant. So I hope that long-term gets approved. Just wanted to support give my voice of support for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kirk. Following Mr. Kirk will be Mr. Reed. Sean.
Afternoon, Commissioners. I think you're going to hear a common thing about the
what the marina was like and what it is now. I've been in Palm City for 22 years. Like many others, I've been a member of the boating community, bouncing back and forth from Sailfish Marine to Riverwatch to Meridian, and then back to Meridian as where I am now. Before Austin took it over, for 5 years, the walls disappeared. The roof became almost non-existent, with rust raining down on boats along with termite droppings. Again, a common theme that I'll think you'll hear throughout this. And finally, last but not least, a 60-foot diameter hole in the middle of the launching area, prompting my boat move back to Riverwatch and then back over when Austin bought it. Since Austin and Jenny of VIP Marinas have purchased the marina, the walls have been shuttered with new metal, the roof has been replaced, the bunks have been replaced. Most importantly, that 60-foot hole has been excavated and redone with new concrete. Entire new slab was poured to facilitate the launching of our boats. Their expansion plans include more docks, a restaurant so needed for waterfront dining in Palm City, and currently we have one. I say to the Commission, please vote in approval of this project. The boaters welcome it, the residents welcome it, and we'll just add another business and a level of entertainment to our town. And I happen to be the contractor that did the slab, but that's not why I'm here.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Nice little plug, though. It was good. Mr. Reed? Following Mr. Reed will be, is it Juliana Riley? Good morning.
Morning. My name's Sean Reed. I had a question towards staff. I was looking at the zoning for the county, and it had it limited to 3 accessory dwellings per site. I know the applicant mentioned coming down to 1, so I didn't know if staff could clarify that. It was section 351B in the zoning, so I don't know if they were aware of it, if they had any comment on it.
So, sir, we'll take your comments now, and then they'll...
Yeah, I was just addressing them. And then, obviously, everyone knows about the parking and the applicant and everyone that's been up here. I think everyone's for it. And I've heard they're for Martin County and everything. I think they should scale it down then, maybe to where they would meet our parking code if they cared as much as they say they did. And that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Juliana Riley, followed by Daniel Mitchell.
Hello.
Morning.
I'm Juliana Riley. My family and I live in one of the 4 single-family homes on Chapman Way, right past the Admiralty. We built just recently, and through our entire process, watched what the marina looked like and compared to what it is today. We drive by it multiple times a day. The progress, the continued progress that's being made is amazing. It is, you know, it takes their time, but they are getting it done. It is safe now. My family and I walk through the marina to look at the water, and we are very excited for the progress. The Camerons have been amazing getting our feedback, our thoughts on, you know, what we feel, you know, the community needs. We are excited about the expansion. We are also very excited about the restaurant possibility. To have that, parking would not be an issue for us because we would just walk. But we are, my family and I are in great support of this and feel that it'd be wonderful for Palm City. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Daniel Mitchell, followed by Charles Glover.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of my family members, and I call them family members because that's the way we are treated at Meridian. I became a member about 2 years ago with the old owner, and it was dilapidated, but it was the only marina I could get into at the time. Since then, I've had calls to leave that marina, my marina, Meridian, and I can't. It's a little drive from my house, but to me, it's worth going there because they treat us like members, family members. And when they started proposing and doing all the work to the roof and all the construction at the marina, my boat sustained some damage, minor damage, but they were on top of it and repaired it with no questions asked. And I'm here just to say what great people they are, and the expansion would be fabulous for future boaters and boaters that can't get into any other marinas in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Glover, good afternoon, followed by Jennifer Jacobs.
Hi, guys. I just got my boat into their marina. It took me a long time to find a spot to put my boat. I'm happy to get in there. We just got a new boat. They're great. The people are great. The staff is great. I just this weekend got a chance to meet them. We just got our boat in there. It's such a necessary, we live in such a wonderful waterfront area. We've got bridges. I mean, it's gorgeous. This is our resource. One of our biggest resources for this community is our water and our water access and our ability to do all the outdoor things that they're having, that we have at our disposal here. We need excess. I mean, with the pandemic, the boat sales have gone nuts, and there's no spots to put the boats, no safe spots to put them during hurricane season. We need more space. Really look forward to potentially you guys having a restaurant there, because coming and going, it'd be great to be able to flip some fillets over to the chef and have him cook them up. But anyhow, I strongly ask you to approve their petition. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jacobs, followed by Missy Campbell. I guess you come in threes.
Hello. My name is Jennifer. My husband, Rick, and I run Meridian Marina for Austin. This is our daughter, Kaylin. Our son, Ryan, also works for the marina. He is actually at the marina moving boats right now, so he couldn't make it today. I just wanted to begin by saying that I've lived in Martin County since birth. I'm a 7th generation Floridian. My children are an 8th. The last 3 generations of our family are right here in Martin County. My husband and I have moved into our home in 2008, and we would never think of moving anywhere else. Martin County is a treasure for sure. My mother went to high school here. My dad is a deputy. He's been a deputy for the Martin County Sheriff's Department for the past 50 years, still working today. He still lives in the house that he built in Rocky Point. To say that we are, our roots don't run deep in this county is a gross understatement. I grew up on the waterways. I learned to water ski as a child, snorkeling and camping at Boy Scout Island, and it's just a really great part of our childhood, my parents' childhood, and now my children. Working at the marina was really tough a few years ago. My husband and I both worked there. We had all of our eggs in that basket. And when the property was in such disrepair and then bankruptcy and foreclosure, we didn't know what was going to happen. We were weeks away from being auctioned to the highest bidder. It could have been some huge corporation that came in and fired us all, and we would have been in a lot of trouble. But Austin and Ginny came in at the very last minute, like superheroes, and I can't tell you how lucky we were. I cannot. They have been an absolute blessing. And if this expansion goes through, it will be the pride of Palm City. It is a wonderful, wonderful part of our community, and they will be too. They may be from Texas, but they're looking to move. They're looking for homes. They're going to be just as big a part of this community as I am, and my family is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Missy, followed by, is it Paul Christensen?
Good afternoon. It's afternoon now, right? I stand before you today as a taxpayer, a voter, and a Martin County resident since 1974. During that time, Martin County and I have both changed and grown a little bit. I grew up in Jensen Beach, but once I was old enough to decide where I wanted to live, I moved to Palm City, and that's where I still reside today. We all talk about how wonderful Martin County is, and I believe the main reason is because of the fabulous community members that we have. And we welcome good neighbors, and that's who I believe Austin and Jenny Cameron are. They came here basically rescued a marina. Meridian Marina was in a complete state of disrepair, as you've heard. The building itself was damaged and unsafe. There was a giant hole in the concrete, which was extremely dangerous. The retention pond on the property was overgrown and unable to function in its drainage capacity. The entire property was uninsurable. Yet these kind folks purchased the marina that was in bankruptcy, rolled up their sleeves, and got to work. Over the past year and a half, they've repaired the building, fixed the hole in the concrete that was an old gasoline tank that had created an environmental hazard, restored the marina, cleaned up the pond that drains Map Road and the adjacent neighbors, and created secure jobs. All of this work has been done at their expense. During this time, they have lived on their boat in the marina with their 2 young children. When they take their children to the park, they engage in conversations with all the neighbors. I'd say that they've been pretty amazing neighbors, and that's what the neighbors seem to think too. The original plans for the marina called for a 12,000 square foot restaurant. This was never built, and now Austin and Jenny are ready to fulfill the dream to have the only waterfront restaurant in Palm City. Before moving forward with this project, they talked to their neighbors at the Admiralty and in Pelican Cove. The project is not going to take down any trees. In fact, the plans call for a great deal of landscaping at quite a hefty price. I know somebody, just saying. No one will be able to see the marina from Map Road unless you're looking for it. The 6,000 square foot family-friendly restaurant, maybe a little playground too, is very welcomed by the boating community. The view and natural breezes make this the perfect site for a restaurant. Their plans include fixing the docks and seawall to make it safer for boat traffic and more accommodating for marina members and restaurant patrons. The Palm City Chamber of Commerce endorses this project, and as a member of the boating community in Palm City, I look forward to a restaurant on the property of Meridian Marina, and I hope you do too.
Thank you, Missy. Thanks for coming from Jensen Beach. We appreciate that.
They don't all live in Palm City. People have to live elsewhere.
Well, you know, Paul Christensen. Following Mr. Christensen is Brian Gardner and Mr. Lord.
Hello, I'm here to voice my support for the improvements to the marina and the restaurant. I've lived in Florida since 1989, and there's been a lot of changes. I think this is an improvement to the community. It'll provide jobs and additional marine storage. I support it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gardner? Followed by Rob Lord.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Brian Gardner. I live in the community actually across Map Road of Hamilton Place, underrepresented apparently today. But I would like to state, I'm not speaking on behalf of our community, but as a resident of the community, we look at Meridian Marina as kind of our marina, so to speak. We don't have waterfront where we live, but we live, kind of right across from it. And so we look at the marina definitely as an asset to our community and our property values. Many of the residents in our neighborhood have boats there. Many of us have moved there because of the proximity to the marina and to be able to have our boat literally across the street where we can walk to our boat and yet not have the overhead of a waterfront home. I'm very familiar with the property before and after the new owners have come in. We've been very impressed with everything as everyone else has. We recently moved our boat there just a few months ago, and I've been very happy with everything. As far as the concerns with the restaurant, we have no issue with it at all. We're very confident that the new owners will operate in a respectful way with the neighbors. Most of my other neighbors, or actually all the other neighbors that I speak with in our neighborhood, everyone's in favor of the marina and supports this as well. One comment I would like to make that I don't think has been brought up, with the expansion of the boat shed, they are going to be able to accommodate, and I'll probably misspeak here a little bit, up to a 50-foot or approximately 50-foot boat. And I know just from doing my research around the county, I think that's kind of an underserved market, because I know Manatee Pocket, I don't know if I think the largest boat over there accommodates around a 30-foot or even less. And so for those out there that have the larger boats, not including myself, if they're looking for a place to store, that opens up a resource that there's not much out there, if any, if you're in the community. So
It might be in the market, so that's great news.
I was just taking to see who on the board had a 50-foot boat. I certainly
Well, now that there could be a marina that could handle it, Ed, in the market, so it's great.
Those are problems not all of us have. So I am definitely in favor of the PUD amendment and all the proposed changes that are coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Last speaker form I have is Rob Lord. Anybody else have a public comment? Now would be the time.
This guy looks so familiar.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I can't place you, but you look so familiar.
It's probably the way I'm dressed that's
Dressed like a retired person.
I used to dress like you, Mr. Campy, but now I'm an old retired guy. So I'm Rob Lord. I'm one of the neighbors in one of the houses that's just past the Admiralty condominium. I did mean to come down here, by the way, before my retirement. Unfortunately, I got COVID at the end of it, and I wanted to thank you all for the incredible working relationship we had. Very grateful for that. Many of you know I'm very involved in water quality issues. I'm very passionate about that, and that's very important to me. We've lived in this house for several years, and what I saw at that marina concerned me greatly in prior years. And in fact, I expressed those concerns. I had the privilege of meeting the new marina owners, and they committed to taking steps to improve some of the runoff and the pollutants, oil leaking from lifts and that sort of thing. And then they've lived up to what they said. And that I appreciate very much. They've committed to improving the environmental impacts. They've taken significant actions, which have been described here today, to reduce the pollution. And I'm also very impressed with their commitment to be a good neighbor. They sought us out and sought our feedback. For the record, just a note, in my conversations with them, I suggested they might want to get in touch with the individual commissioners earlier in the process. But they weren't familiar with that process, because what you heard, these are not land developers. The fact is, this has been an eyesore, and it's improving. And I look forward to improving. I've seen the plans. The aesthetics of it are I think, very positive. And with regard to the restaurant, that was a concern at first, and they addressed several concerns, including that rooftop aspect of it. Again, responsive. And I think they'll make great neighbors. I think this is a great improvement to our community. Again, I thank you all.
Thanks, Rob. It's great to see you. Thanks for all of what you helped get us through in Martin County. Commissioner Campy.
Is that the end of this?
That's the end of the speakers.
Okay, I'll speak concisely and as briefly as I can. I am the District 5 Commissioner. Palm City is in my district. I will tell you that for many years I had received a lot of communication from residents that were very unhappy with the state of the marina on Map Road. If you're not familiar with it, it's on the northern portion of Map Road, north of Martin Downs. And, you know, a lot of people would have to drive past it, and a lot of people live near it. It's a gigantic building, so if it's in terrible shape, it's very noticeable. And so with that in mind, you know, there wasn't much I could do about it. As the local commissioner, I did reach out and had conversation with the previous owners and was aware of some of their financial distress that they were in. And so we just sort of left it alone. It was sort of hobbling along. One of the biggest problems, I think, environmentally and health-wise, was the terrible condition of the lake up by Map Road. It was completely not taken care of. It was mosquito haven, and it became a horrible eyesore. So that being said, that's where it left. I had heard rumors of the process of that the building was going to be sold at auction, that they were trying to find people. But, you know, a facility of this size and a marina in general, it's not like someone is buying a warehouse. It's only a handful of select types of individuals and businesses that know how to take care of this. And then you get into a situation where it's not, you know, if you're in the business of investing in purchasing businesses, this one is just about on the verge of collapsing onto itself. It had a DEP issue, and if any of you are familiar that anything about correcting an issue with the DEP is very, very expensive and very, very complicated, especially if it involves gasoline tanks right on the water's edge. You can imagine that that wasn't something you were going to quickly or inexpensively take care of. That was my previous history with this site. About a week or so ago, I got, actually I shouldn't say that. My aide got a request to have an appointment with the folks that purchased it from Mr. Crady's office, and they had very specific time frame when I could meet, so we did that. So I hadn't had an opportunity to meet them until recently. Prior to meeting with them, I guess all of us started to receive emails. The first one, and these were unique emails, we've all received email complaints or concerns from residents. The first one was, if I'm not mistaken, 10 or 12 pages long. Had photographs, was very detailed. It was not signed. It was signed by a whistleblower. That's how they signed it. But I read every page of it and looked at every picture because, look, it affects all of us. I'm assuming all of us did that, even if it was anonymous. Then there was another email that went out, again, 10, 12 pages, asking questions, very detailed questions. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? And then one or two, if I'm not mistaken, maybe one more. I don't want to be quoted on exactly how many, but a couple. So before I ever met the applicant or their representatives, I had that information. Okay, so when I showed up last week, 8 o'clock in the morning, Mr. Raines was there, Mr. Crady was there, and the Camerons, as well as a couple of their longtime employees. And, you know, I have been known for speaking too long or too much. I think Mr. Cameron could set a record.
No, trust me.
I had allotted an hour, and I told them a hard stop at 9 a.m. He went on for 45 minutes, nonstop. And what I took from that, not only did he give a lot of information, which I appreciate, especially sitting up here, I could tell that he and his wife were passionate about what they were doing. So although I'll be honest with you, and I never even mentioned it to them, I went in a little negative. I take those emails from citizens seriously, especially the people that are going to really take the time to do their homework, whether they're for it or against it. I was in there and I had some serious questions that I was going to ask. And then through his presentation, he had addressed some of them. So in my mind, I'm saying, okay, I get that. Okay, I get that. And then I got to ask some questions and I got to do what I normally do, and I'm assuming my colleagues do as well. I gave advice to them that said, look, this is what I'm going to need you to do to make this even something I can consider. I have to hear from your neighbors. You are tucked right into the middle of a community. You're not off somewhere in the distance. I get that you're an established business, but what you're asking is to create a new facet of your established business, the restaurant. The marine issues, once, I heard about the 40-foot and how tall would the boats be on top of the rack, and I had concern. I looked at the original existing landscaping. I can imagine at one time it was probably great, but it wasn't as much as it could be. But that's an easy enough fix, especially if you have a willing owner applicant. Some people get panicked when you say $300,000 worth of landscaping. A lot of people balk at that. We've had plenty of people, our staff will tell you, we've had plenty of people say, look, you're going to have to plant, 50 trees and 150 bushes. And they're like, I don't know if I want to do that. They were like, absolutely, you will do whatever the landscaping needs to be. Okay. I said, you really need to reach out to the citizens and the neighbors, because I get that if we get an email from someone that lives in Jensen Beach or Stewart or Hobe Sound and they say, we would love to have a waterfront restaurant, that's terrific for them, including me. I live in Palm City, obviously, but I don't live right near the marina. I need to hear from the neighbors. I need to hear from the people that are impacted, because what we always try to do is who's there first. And although I'm thrilled with what we've heard about the economic benefits and the lifestyle benefits, I represent the people that live on Ibis Street and Pelican and Chapman. And I said, start getting people. Now, I tell everyone before a meeting, if you have supporters, we need to hear from them. We need to hear from them in an email, or we need to hear from them in person. And immediately within 24 hours, I started receiving, and I'm assuming everybody did, email, not cookie cutter emails like, please, your name here and please do this. Really heartfelt emails. And I'm checking addresses. Whoever put an address on, I would either click on the address if it was able to be clicked on, or I would take out my phone and look to see where do they live. Hamilton, Prosperity, some of the folks in the Admiralty, some of the folks that live in individual houses past the Admiralty, some of the folks on Pelican, which is on the south side of the property, some of the folks on Ibis. Now, I will tell you, I did receive 2 emails from folks that live right there that are obviously concerned, not so much about the marina improvements, because they live next to a marina, but about the restaurant. So I spoke to Mr. Crady, and I said, look, might have to break this up a little bit, because I'm not opposed to the requests of an additional building. I'm not opposed to the outside storage facility, because a lot of other marinas in Martin County have outside storage facilities. I did do my research to find out, yes, it's not that hard to figure. It's the only marina in Palm City. So with that in mind, I started thinking about this family came here and made a multi-million-dollar investment in our community and will continue to do that. That's first and foremost as far as I'm concerned. Secondly, they rehabbed an existing eyesore and stopped it. Not only did they repair it, they stopped it from the worst possible outcome, which is that it would have gone completely out of business, would not have gotten an owner, and would have become derelict. None of us in Palm City or in Martin County would want a building that size sitting derelict. Even when it was being utilized as a marina, it was falling apart. Imagine if no one was there taking care of it. So I thought that was very important. And then I said to them about the public outreach. They had their, a lot of people like to say they do public outreach, but what they do is they only reach out to the people that support their project. They don't want to hear from the people that have concerns or even opposing it. They reached out to everybody. They reached out to the people that supported the project. Those are the easy ones. And they reached out to the people that had a problem with it. And they either tried to, reassure those people, and sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. But it's a testament to what they've done that neighbors that live either directly next door at the Admiralty or down Chapman Way or on the south side neighborhood either wrote us or came forward to speak on their behalf. I kept waiting for the people that were going to think that this was a terrible project. Most of the time, the room is filled with people that hate a project. The room is not filled with people that like the project in the middle of a workday. So that was next. And then the environmental issues as well as the aesthetics, and I asked them about it, and they said, oh, of course we do it, a clean marine. I remember we're touting this. Being designated as a clean marina is not an easy achievement. It's very difficult to do. It's like a clean, or this banners we have here about opera, and in the marina environment, it's harder than just having, like this building is a green building. Okay, so I thought that was excellent, that they were willing to not only do the environmental cleanup, but even the aesthetic cleanups. I have a couple of suggestions. I happened to walk the property this morning. When I was there the other time, I ended up leaving at 9:30, half an hour past my hard stop, but I didn't get a chance to walk around. I had been there many years ago, but wasn't thinking like, let me see. So before the meeting this morning, I drove over there. I walked all around that building up in the front that was going to be potentially the restaurant, and I drove around and I went down by Mr. Lord's house and just to get a feel for what's necessary. It's obvious that on the south side there is a berm. The low landscaping is nearly completely gone and has been, I'm sure, for years. I would strongly recommend, especially the gentleman this morning that was talking about decibels, a stockade kind of wooden fence or something, and landscaping hopefully on both sides of it is an important aspect to be a good neighbor. Then as you get down closer to where that existing building is, which is obviously in terrible shape, not your fault, but it's basically getting ready to cave in on itself. So anything you do there will be an enhancement. When they first mentioned, like the rest of you had heard, and I will wrap up very shortly, very, very shortly. 4 stories didn't work for me. A rooftop open bar on the roof of that restaurant did not work for me. I understand the concept of the 4 and accessory dwelling units, but I thought that would potentially be a problem. But I have no problem with it being 1 or 2, a place for you all, or a on-site caretaker. Many businesses, our own parks, we create residential or dwelling units in our parks so that we can hire someone that can work and stay there so that if anything happens in the evening or in the nighttime, that I like the concept that Mr. Crady said that we're not going to necessarily get into the meat and potatoes of the restaurant for 2 reasons. One, I did have the opportunity to hear about a couple of the people that they're potentially looking to partner with for that restaurant. Top-notch, fantastic restaurateurs. However, all due respect to the Camerons, they're not signed up with any of them. My cynical mind would say, it could potentially be this restaurant group, and then it's not, after we had given the approval. And I still need to speak to the residents that live on the south side of the property, because you can imagine, if here's the building, then there's some open space, and then there's some trees and bushes, and then there's someone's house. That person's opinion and the opinions of his neighbors carry a great deal of weight for me. Now, I do believe, and I think you are both willing to do that, and I had spoken to both of the restaurateur options that you have potentially have. I did have a long conversation with one of them last night, and they're ready to go as well. So what I think we need to do at a later date is discuss that and have some feedback from the neighbors. And I think I will facilitate that meeting if you want. And the only reason I will is because I know you will participate and do what you hear. The worst thing we can do is hear from the neighbors and then have the applicant say, well, I'm not going to do that. And what do I want to say finally? This is more of a technical thing, not so much for you. I did receive an email, and I saw that there was some social media sites, which seems to be the way that most people gather their information these days, whether it's accurate or not, that somehow, they didn't name me personally, but they said, basically me, that I had taken those emails. There was a comment this morning about it as well, that I had taken the emails that were sent to me from residents. One person did put their name. I tried to look that person up to reach out to them to hear their point of view. I cannot find that person. I know that you tried to reach out to a couple of people, which I thought was nice, and they did not want to reach back out to you to get the answers, at least verbally in a meeting. That somehow I secretly gave the emails out to before anyone else should have an opportunity to see them. I 100% did not do that, as well as the fact that when you send emails to public officials, it's instantaneously a public record. It also went to growth management. It was upstairs on the 4th floor. I read through the comments, and some of my folks have read through the comments, and people are completely upset with the fact that somehow I would have divulged confidential information that someone sent to me. That's not what it was. I didn't send any emails out to anybody. But if Mr. Raines is smart enough, after having a conversation with me, where I'm quoting those emails, asking those questions that I read, that he would contact the county staff to get his own emails and find out what it was. I think that was actually pretty smart. So, in closing, Mr. Chair, Palm City does need the boat storage. It will ease our boat ramps, our public boat ramps, and our boat ramp parking lots, because a lot of Palm City is HOAs. Not allowed to have a trailered boat on your property. Most people don't have a friend that has acreage out in Palm City Farms where you could put a boat on a trailer. And we are a boating community. We tout that. We're a marine industry community. So everyone then forces their boats to the Charlie Layton boat ramp, and then they park them all over Cornell. If you were able to increase your capacity both inside and outside, home run for me. So I would make a motion to support the applicant for the outside boat storage rack, for the additional inside boat storage building. We're holding off on the conversation with the restaurant portion, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Crady, is that true? Mr. Raines?
Yeah, so, Mr. Campy, if I could, just for clarification purposes, what we're hoping for today is that the restaurants would be approved, but we would have to come back for a PUD amendment to address conditions I think that you're talking about, for the noise, music, smoking, some of the things
Smell.
we've heard, smells. So we'd like for the restaurant to be approved, but we are agreeing to come back before we can do anything with the restaurant, to come back for an amendment to the PUD that would have conditions addressing those concerns. Is that what
Okay.
would that?
Let me take that on.
Yes, sir.
Let me clarify my motion then. I just want to be very clear to the public that if I'm giving my approval of a restaurant concept on the property, that there is several stops that would have to take place and you'd have to get through, hurdles you'd have to overcome, which would require me and you all and the owners speaking to the immediately impacted neighbors. Their opinions mean a great deal to me. It's one thing to say you love a restaurant on the water. if you live in Danforth or Hammock Creek. It's another thing if you are immediately adjacent to this property. So I will approve the concept of a restaurant.
The location of.
And the location
Yes,
of the
sir.
restaurant. What I want removed is that I want it to go to a single accessory dwelling unit, that it's only going to be a two-story building, which it currently is, and that the landscaping, I know we have a pretty tough landscaping kind of requirement. I believe that the Camerons will take it above and beyond that, because that just seems to be the way that they are. And I appreciate that you'd be willing to invest your time and your passion and your money. You've literally put your money where your mouths are. And for your staff, both existing and future, I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I defer the rest of my time.
So,
I wasn't joking. Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, my responsibilities as a commissioner are to ensure compliance with our rules and compatibility with our existing neighborhoods. I'm the commissioner in District 4 and have been for 20 years, and we've had some terrible fights in my neighborhood over just these sort of expansions. There was the planned expansion of the Hinckley Boatyard. That's a boatyard in the middle of an entirely residential neighborhood. Commissioner Smith was a commissioner at that time, too. We had many all-day hearings about the Hinckley Boatyard that were terribly unpleasant. My district also includes the Manatee Pocket and the restaurants there and noise incompatibility there. We've fought those battles for years. Sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully. So my concerns are compatibility with your neighbors, because your neighbors are not compatible with you. Commercial uses next to residential uses never are. They cause conflict every place that we see them. So it's very necessary to follow the rules in order to try to minimize the impacts, the negative impacts to the neighbors. Thank you.
Are you seconding the motion?
No. But I don't think I'm going to oppose it.
if I may, I think we need to clarify the motion if you're directing staff to change the special conditions in the PUD at this time. If you like and just to add to the point, if we make these special condition changes now, and the restaurant went forward, it would actually just be a minor amendment to the site plan and may not constitute a PUD amendment in the future? Okay, but they're also putting requirements now. So to change it now, we're requesting that it goes from 4 accessory dwelling units to 1, no rooftop uses, and to remain at 2 stories, and to have a 9 p.m. curfew on any music venues? Okay. So my point is, I don't know what additional criteria there might be to cause for a future PUD amendment, but we can also put that in, that the applicant has to come back in.
I was going to say, just make it simple. There will be a requirement.
To come back and do a PUD amendment for whatever reason to get the restaurant approved.
And a
Okay.
And in the motion, this Elise Elder, Senior Assistant County Attorney, we would need authority to revise the PUD agreement now, and approval by the County Attorney's Office, post-approval authority to revise it, to include that language.
And I think also, if I could, Bob Raines, for the record, I think Commissioner Hurd pointed out a couple of things that needed to be changed too with respect to the 3-story, I think it was, in the other one. So we can address that too as part of that.
And also, in my motion, I'm okay with the explanation that I received from staff on the parking calculations.
So just to be clear for the public, what this really means is that when the restaurant comes back as a requirement of this requirement for a PUD amendment, there'll be an LPA hearing?
No, there's an existing master approved, so there would be no LPA. It would just be a BCC meeting like this one.
Okay, and that'll be noticed publicly, and there'll be requirements?
It's not required to be noticed, but that can be an additional condition. I don't know.
I'll be noticing the residents of the area.
Okay.
Well,
You're right.
You'll know about it.
Commissioner Hetherington.
What more can be said? I will echo a lot of Commissioner Campy's comments. I did have a chance to go out. I did have some questions on parking, because it does look like my first thought was there would be a decrease, but there's not. There's an increase in parking. And I really appreciated the explanation of why the building, for hurricane reasons, doesn't jog in and out. And your neighbors that are here supporting you, when there is eventually a restaurant there, they will also hold you accountable on the parking. If there's a variance now, they will be holding you accountable, I think, in the future. So I'm okay. There is an accessory dwelling right now, so completely support of that. But what you just said, that there were allowable 3 dwellings?
Yes, it's a PUD, so the land use allows it, so, excuse me, go ahead.
This is a commercial waterfront land use with a PUD zoning agreement, so the options are very flexible with respect to residential as well.
So if in the future, other than the residential, they wanted to put a harbor master unit, is that allowable on top of that? Because I would support there being, in addition to the 1 dwelling, a harbor master unit. Does this preclude them from doing that?
It does not. It would require a PUD amendment in the future, sure.
So you want to have 2? I mean, I don't think you're going to destroy anything if we go from a single. The applicant said 1, so I said 1. If you want 2, if you're going to.
It would be better if we could have the ability in case we have.
I alter my motion to make it 2.
Can I make a suggestion? You're going to come back for a PUD amendment for the restaurant.
Yes.
Why don't you at that time determine whether that's fitting, not fitting, how it's all going up to that point? You're not really.
But the actual site plan and the PUD call for 4 accessory dwelling units right now. That's
Right, but his motion was to reduce it to 1.
Mhm.
He also has in his motion that it has to come back as a PUD amendment for the restaurant, which means there'll be another opportunity to say, hey, look, we think having a harbor master and a location for the harbor master makes perfectly good sense. Here's where it fits, how it all looks. And this conversation you're going to have with your neighbors, you can have that conversation with them and say, look, is this all what we agreed to?
Yeah, so that's fine, Commissioner. I think you're saying. I'm sorry. You were saying 1 right now, and then 2, if we want another one, we can do that at the time we come back for the amendment. Is that?
Are you okay with that or no?
We're fine with that.
I'd like 2 now. I can run some scenarios in my head that you might not get it next time.
Okay, that's fine. Would it?
Okay.
It's not going to be 3.
With all that being said, I'd be happy to second it.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Everybody understand what the issues are relative to post-approval kind of stuff that has to occur?
I think we understand.
Yes.
I would say this to the applicants, well done. It's not often we get a presentation done to the extent that you all did that today. I hope I have this right. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? But it's better in Florida.
No, there you go.
So, welcome to Florida. Sorry this took you so long to get where it took to get here, but we are incredibly thorough, as you well know, with our staff. They're incredibly thorough. Your commissioner is incredibly thorough, even though he lives in Palm City. And we really appreciate everything you've done. Just hearing from our residents and the people that have come forward with the sentiments and the thoughts is really good to hear. So thank you for all that you've done. It's a great start. And for your employees, good for you guys. Fantastic. Okay?
Commissioner, you haven't voted yet.
I know.
Okay. I thought you were wrapping it up. Sorry.
Hey, Krista.
I've been so quiet.
It's like that. You jump into that big seat. It's like,
I apologize.
no, it's okay.
I thought you were wrapping it up, so I stand corrected.
Welcome to my world.
Well, after 20 minutes of Ed, I thought I got like 3 minutes I put in there. So anyway, there is a motion and there is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
We will be back at, let's see, 1:30, 2 o'clock. Let's take up like 2:15. We'll come back by 2:15 and resume our meeting.
It's going to be quick. It's just those